All right. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. I see the YouTube live is already going. So thank you all for waiting. Thank you for being here. You have a high tolerance for loops like that. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool beat. So I just went with that. So Sloshy Whale 91. Captain Lurk, Isis Secular. Ricky Hits, Darth Gently, I see you in there. More Isis Secular. So thank you all for waiting. Appreciate you being here. So here we are. Do you believe in objective morality? Sure do. I'm an objective moral realist. Well, don't need faith. Why would a God make us have faith? Just show yourself. That's all you got to do. Don't need to be the best hide and seek champion in the world, right? Don't need for that. What do you need faith for? Like, what does faith do? What would you say you base your objectivity on? Laws of logic. It's about as objective as it can get. Now, secular people, non-believers who are subjective moralists, I don't got a problem with, because 99.9999999% of the time we fall on the same side. So it just shows that you can get there a couple of different ways. Now, I happen to think it's objective because, you know, it makes sense. It's logical. Things that line up with the laws of logic are true. And the laws of logic are objective. Why do you spend your time as an atheist arguing about God? Because beliefs without evidence are dangerous. When we have people with these beliefs that are trying to take away the rights of others, when they're trying to push their beliefs on other people as if it's fact, then the least you can do is demonstrate that it's true. Rod Bloarez, thank you. Greetings to you too, Rod. And I hope that Thinker and I will team up again real soon. I think we will. I'm optimistic that we will, because that was so fun, and she thought that it was a great time too. So I'm looking forward to it the next time we get to do a joint. You think there's any way to make someone critically think, question God? Yeah, ask them questions. Ask them tough questions. So get them out of their feelings, because this is a feelings-based belief. Most people won't question it if they don't think logically. Yeah, so ask them questions. Get them out of that feeling space. You know, ask them about things that don't line up and why they don't line up, and have them explain it to you. And when they go to, oh, it's a mystery, you know, we don't know God's ways, challenge them on that. Amazing day. Yep. Tsunamis are proof of Poseidon's anger. See? So, Banksy, you have demonstrated that every religion is true. Every belief is true. Every religion has witnessing. Every religion has miracles. Every belief has miracles. So then that means everything's true. If everything's true, nothing's true. How did everything come to be? Don't know. Now, evidence we have is that it's always been here. Universe has always existed. That's the evidence we have, and that's what I line up with. That's what I believe. but I believe it based on evidence. So, Banksy, what is your evidence that God created all this? If you do believe that, you didn't say that. How did you feel when you were deconstructing? Lost. Felt lost. I saw a science miracle yesterday. That means the science is 100% exactly, Augie. So if we're basing it on miracles, then everybody who sees a miracle, it's true. Everybody. You think you're too smart to God? Well, that's just like asking me if I'm too smart for the leprechaun, and I don't think God exists. So I don't know what that means if I'm too smart. Just worship the sun, as George Carlin said, gives you everything you need, except, including cancer. Why debate something you don't think exists? Because everyone's telling me it exists. So why should I shut up and smile? So why are you trying to shut me down? Just demonstrate it exists, and then there won't be any debate. How about you just do that? Just provide evidence it exists. How do you think I should approach telling my parents I'm deconstructing? That's a good question. I mean, I deconstructed way later in life. I think that, honesty is the best policy, and then have them ask you questions. Don't be keyboard cowards for Christ. Request up. Exactly, Poke. And welcome, everybody. Pokegurumi is a new mod. So we have added a mod. Pokegurumi is now a mod. And the biggest reason why, well, not only because Pokegurumi is pretty awesome, that's a big reason why. That's really the only reason we need. But the other reason is Pokegurumi is going to be our bingo caller. So she's got the entire list of all of the calls. And so when she sees them, she's going to type them in chat. So look for caps. And that's why I had to make her a mod so she could type caps without any slack, without any flack. Just want to, so no one tries to mute her or anything like that. Or, we may get some admonishments because not all the mods are here, but that's okay. We'll just let them know. But yeah, in fact, you know what? I got to add you to the private mod channel in the Discord and all that stuff. So I'll do that after the show today, but I'll let everybody know. So that, and if a mod accidentally tells you not to do caps, then, it's an honest mistake. They probably just didn't, because, they all come in at different times. So not a big deal. Okay. So I'm going to add that in here. Gurumi is now we can call out bingo in all caps. And pretty awesome too. Okay. There we go. So we got that going. 193 people, and we got some guests waiting. So, all right. So tapping the screen, that's great. Thank you. And let's share it out to some friends. So let's get the shares going. Let's get the everything we can do to support the live. And I'm going to do my part. So you do yours, I'm going to do mine, right? So let's bring up MetaWave as our first guest. Let's get this thing kicked off. How's it going, MetaWave?
Hey, how's it going? Doing well.
Yeah, good. Can I get your age and pronouns, please?
25 and he, him.
All right, thank you. All right, which God do you believe in?
It's tough to say. I would say I align mostly with like a syncretism, perennial philosophy kind of notion of God.
Okay.
Like no one specific, I would say, dogma has my creed. More like every not every, but a lot of, I think, ideologies can point towards truth that is more than a dogmatic sort of shackle.
Okay. Did a mind create the universe?
That's a good question. I think consciousness and how that interacts with the world, whatever that gap is, I would call that God
Okay.
as a necessary coherence for that.
Is it a mind?
I would say so.
Okay. Did it create the universe?
In my limits of knowledge, I would say that's where my belief comes in, and I would say yes.
All right. Very good. All right. What's your best evidence that this God, whatever you want to call it, this God is real?
I I would say if I were to kind of frame it as a proof in almost like a mathematical manner, it would be kind of difficult. In the same way that it would be difficult for me to like prove like love exists. I could give you anecdotal evidence. I could appeal to emotion and such, but ultimately, I think that there's an experiential component to the existence of God that it gets obfuscated when we try to convey that view it like
Okay.
through language.
Now we have
I'm
strong.
trying not to dodge, but yeah.
I hear you. And I know you're trying to put it into words, and I'm good with that. I'm now as far as love is concerned, we do have really good scientific evidence that it exists and where it comes from. You know, it comes from our amygdala, and it's a peer-reviewed study on that. So,
Mhm.
um, so is it? If I'm hearing you right, are you saying that experientially, you is the evidence that you have that God exists or God is real?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to your point, we can tell a lot about what like the existence of love means empirically from like data, but if I give you like a sheet of maybe all the components of what the color red is, I could give you whole sheets of that, but to see red is a whole different experience than the knowledge of maybe like the blueprint, so to speak.
Sure,
And I
sure.
think that subjective experience part is not that's like the crux of what I'm saying is
Okay. Well, I heard the words subjective experience. Are you saying that it's so? Are you saying that God is not objectively real? It just depends.
hmm. Well, I would call God the coherence of existence at all. And
What's
and,
that
and
mean?
so
Can you parse that out? Coherence of
something
existence. Yeah.
something to the degree of the like we have to couch reality in some objectivity or else we
Yeah.
would have
Sure.
no discernment between what's real and what's fake. And I would say that
Totally agree.
the the allowance of coherence to persist in a day-to-day state so that we can have any you know explanation of what's real, I would call that phenomena, and as well as the just the ability for consciousness to exist at all, I would call that God.
Hmm.
And so I would say there's almost something poetic about it, which some people don't tend to like that avenue of taking it, but it's almost like I guess to take it to this point, is like a piece of poetry. Is that considered like fiction or nonfiction? I would say that it's somewhere in between, in the
I
same
think
way
it's.
that
I think it's just poetry.
yes, but like it's kind of at the edge of fiction and nonfiction is my point.
Yeah, I'd say
In the
it's
same,
it's literary and it's just poetry. It's just a different category. It's just poetry. Because you can have poetry about real things, you know, poetry about imaginary things, but at the end of the day, it's just
sure,
poetry, right? Like there's
sure.
characteristics about it that you call it poetry.
I guess to go off of that, the I think it was Wittgenstein. He had mentioned that like the words that we use to describe reality matter, and so
Sure.
the with that being said, like God, for example, is a word that carries a lot of baggage with it, and I think
True.
um, since the dawn of man, like we've called the sun God. We've called, we've made polytheistic notions of God as a way to explain existence. And I would say nowadays, as I'm fleshing it out now, the functional purpose of believing in God might have more validity than the ontological necessity or existence
Okay.
of God.
Yeah. So there might be so if I'm hearing you right, there might be a functional reason, or functional purpose to believe in a God.
Yes, yeah, like almost like if maybe he doesn't literally exist, but living as
Okay.
if he does exist might be beneficial.
Hmm. Why so?
Because I feel that it holds ourselves and everyone in a communal sense to a standard of excellence that without it we could we risk falling into just nihilism and subjective standards of relativism that is impossible to knock, because you could no longer moralize anything external to you because that's just their opinion.
Well, because I mean, don't we already have that with the laws of logic? Because I mean that's a pretty good way that we can understand our reality, make sense of our world, right? Like you said, because you were alluding earlier to like coherence, how we make our world coherent. I think we just do that with the laws of logic, right?
Yes,
Identify
w- w-
things.
I would
Something
say
is
yes,
true, not true. Something is, not is. I don't
regarding
know. What else do we need?
the phys- regarding the physicality of life. I think logic is or like science and logic are very helpful, but when it comes to the questions of like why and questions of values, I think that science is at its limits of its domain to
Okay.
to help.
Now, I might get on board with a type of God, and it's a distant might, but might. This is
Sure.
a little bit more sensible to me. Like if it's a
Okay.
God that's limited in some way, right? Like,
Sure.
but an all omni God, it just doesn't make sense. Um,
I
you
would
know,
agree with you.
yeah, or some God just behind the scenes pulling the strings on everything. It does, yeah. Ultimately, it just falls apart, right? But if it's got some limitations, like let's say it is all powerful but not omniscient, like it just doesn't know the future, right? But it can do anything,
Gotcha.
so it may not understand the ramifications of its actions, right? Okay, that might explain suffering, like unnecessary suffering. That might explain that. Um, now, I might still call this God responsible. I still might say,
Mm.
we should be able to blame this God. But see, then we kind of drift into um, believing versus worshiping, because you can believe in a God, but that doesn't mean you worship it,
Mm.
right? It's not automatic. But if we're talking about believing if this God is real, the struggle for me is that, like, for something for unnecessary suffering, quote unquote unnecessary suffering,
Okay.
we have explanations, reasonable explanations for that within the laws of nature, like laws of physics, laws of evolution through natural selection, adaptation, all that. We have some reasonable explanations. But like I said, if it's an all omni God, it just completely crumbles and falls apart when you just talk about unnecessary suffering. Well, then you have to
I would.
understand. Yeah. Well, then you have to go into, well, is suffering necessary versus unnecessary? If it's an all omni God. But I'm sorry. I'm drifting. I'm taking us further away from what you're talking about. So
No, no, no.
forgive me.
These are great points. I think suffering is also it's narrative driven to some degree. I mean, there's like the physicality of it, but
Yeah, like on a secular sense, like just on a dictionary sense, a secular sense, suffering
okay.
is just experiencing hardship that's prolonged, or more than
Sure.
necessary, right? Or more than yeah, like prolonged hardship. It'd be something like that. Like for example, an animal that falls off a cliff and survives, but legs are broken, you know or back's broken, I would
Sure.
say that animal would suffer from that point on, right? Um, so when I think about it from that perspective, yeah, it could be a God who just decided to create everything because this God had the power, but didn't understand what the impact of that would be. Didn't realize, oh shit, gravity is going to cause animals to fall off cliffs and they're going to suffer and die. Now, the other part of that is if this God is all powerful but not all knowing, then what I would expect is that God to say intervene at times, like it would have some type of compassion, empathy, something like that. And we don't see that, right? So maybe it was a God that, just had like a one lightning in a bottle. It could create one time, set everything in motion, but then could do nothing else.
Yeah,
Maybe.
the unmoved mover sort of
Maybe.
perspective. I would.
Yeah, maybe.
I even feel that at the crux of identity, God can be found, and I would say that like my approach to the God question is a little bit more mystical in nature than like you could read a literature. I mean, literature is like a map, but the territory is experience, in my opinion.
Okay. Well,
I'm not trying to be.
oh no, I'm just kind of sitting on your. I'm sitting on your
not
words.
be.
Yeah, I'm kind of sitting on your words. So, well, I
Okay.
think maybe from this angle we can approach it. For you, why is it important to believe in a God?
I would say for me, it's believing in God is synonymous with believing in my most self-actualized, highest self, and where I play into a higher place in terms of my, in almost a Da Vinci style, like interconnectedness. Like at the core of my identity, I'm a part of a whole. And when I distinguish myself as two separate, then I could fall into egoic desires. And that's what I'm trying to stray away from.
I gotcha. So then how does, because it's interesting, because when I left Christianity, when I stopped being a Christian, stopped being a deist, stopped being a believer, my empathy increased, my connection to the world increased, my understanding of morality increased. All those things like went up, shot up exponentially, significantly.
If I could ask, what specifically do you feel was shackling you from those growth moments that you're speaking of? What about Christianity was limiting you from those?
The idea that I had to please this God, or else to either get into heaven or be sent to hell. So it became about pleasing this God, and it stopped becoming about doing the right thing. And so that became problematic. And, if you watch my live for any point of time, like if we get into these moral conversations, like I get into moral discussions with Christians, I can pull the curtain back pretty fast. It only takes me a few minutes to show the asymmetry.
You speak on something very real and I've had this discussion with friends about how I think the worst part of Christianity is the fear that it does, like the guilt and the fear. And so I definitely am with you on that.
Yeah.
I feel, and I mean, maybe this is just a charitable interpretation of my defense, but I feel that a lot of people's issue with Christianity, I find, is either they have bad experiences with how it was brought to them or with people that are just bad examples. And I guess I try to steelman the position or the ideology of like, I just think that Jesus was a self-actualized individual who he's not the most, he's not the most special. He was showing something that I would say is akin to the Eastern notions of like Buddha mind. And I think he's a very good Western example, or I mean, he was from Middle East, but like the ideology was widespread in Western culture through the Jesus narrative. And then Christianity kind of got, it became a business essentially, and I think got corrected. But I would say the heart, if we're really steel manning what Christianity, if played to the most charitable way, I would say there's something worth keeping, like keeping the baby and throwing the bathwater out, I think is and maybe I'm an apologist in that regard, but
Perhaps. I mean, we see similar themes in other religions, though, right? We see acts of charity, in Buddhism, in the Tao, in, all kinds of other different religions. It doesn't seem a whole lot different to me.
yes,
And it's almost like, what it's similar to me in this respect is that, multiple civilizations at the same time developed the bow and arrow. They were on different continents and they all developed at right around the same time. And there was no way that they could have like collaborated or convened or shared, compared notes or anything like that. They were all separated by geography, but they all developed at the same time, So maybe that's just the way it was meant to go.
That's a great point. I mean, to circle back to the first question about like what God I believe in, I would still stay by a sort of syncretic, like perennial philosophy about it, essentially saying that yes, there's a lot of teachings that predated Jesus, but I don't see that as mutually exclusive to that teaching. I think they all are different angles and different sort of
slightly different, yeah. Yeah,
like different different dances, but the same song.
Yeah. Well, like here's an example. Another example from that angle is like do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That was a theme in ancient Egypt. So we have poems in ancient Egypt that say pretty much the same thing. And this was what, 2,500 years before that, 4,000 years before that. So, I mean, and it's in the Old Testament too. So if you take it from the Old Testament, I think it's in Leviticus, that piece, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So it's not really a new thing from Jesus. It was in Leviticus, but then before that, it was in ancient Egypt. And so, yeah. So
and then really, like, I to your point, I think there's even like the Dionysus myth is, in like Greek and such. And once again, I see this as only playing into the interconnectedness of narrative and how it pervades via different cultural expressions, as opposed to like they copied them, or I think that it's a diverse sort of approach to truth, and it's demonstrating the difficulty to convey via myth this truth that I would say is like the light, the truth, whatever that is. It's pervading through all these cultures, and similar to your bow creation argument, it's something I think that it's marked on every person.
Right.
And I heard an interesting argument that like for every need or desire, there's a resolve. So like we all have a need for hunger, there's food. We know we have a need for shelter, there's shelter we can find. Our need for meaning and our need to sort of figure out those deeper questions of why, I would argue they point towards some cohesive answer of order that we could strive for. And
well, why couldn't like the laws of physics and the universe just be that cohesive thing that holds everything together? Because that's what we have evidence for. So why can't we just be that, and we just be good with it and just say, and we're not 100% sure of everything else, but that's what it is, and that's it. So like, why does there have to be more on top of that?
For some reason that it's insufficient for me, just because I think even Einstein and other scientists had mentioned that the the most curious thing about like mathematics and physics is why they work at all. The coherence of these constructive, um, systems and paradigms like math and physics. The reason that they work at all is kind of a miracle in its own right, that it would seemingly point towards some intelligence or some like design that allowed for this intelligence. Because like why doesn't things just turn to absurdity? There's you know
Well, again, if our reality is held together by the laws of physics and
Sure.
it operates according to the laws of physics, and understand the laws of physics are descriptive, right?
Sure.
Um, like we discovered what they were based on observations of the world,
Hmm.
and that's why they're laws, because we observe them. Now there's different theories based on that because we're trying to understand like some of the things we don't readily observe, or maybe getting the why behind why we observe things. And then
Mm.
that's when the theories come into play, but the laws are based on what we observe, right? The theories are like the math behind it. And it seems to me we're given not enough credit to our minds. I mean, we have some pretty,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, our minds are super flawed, right? There's a lot we don't know. We're pretty messed up beings in a lot of ways, but despite that, our minds are pretty incredible. And the
Yeah.
fact that we've discovered all these things that we have discovered with the limited access that we have to the universe is pretty, to me, that's pretty amazing. I'm just not seeing why that would point to design, just because we can't readily understand what the mechanism, like why math works, or
Mm.
and this is just me. I might be, there might be a physicist out there that could tell us. Um, but yeah, from my limited understanding of physics and math, yeah, it to me it just works. It looks like magic, right?
Mm.
But that doesn't mean divine, right? That doesn't mean something more powerful is out there. What if that's just what it is? That's all there is,
Mm.
you know?
It and I think this is the part of the conversation where it does get like the modern science wouldn't have an answer for this, which is why these are the interesting conversations. I
Yeah, this is more philosophical, right?
totally.
And yeah, because I mean, there's like, yeah, there's a lot of still a lot of holes in say quantum physics, right? There's still a lot of holes in physics that people got to figure out. There seems to be though that I'd say 300,000 years ago when humans first appeared on the planet,
Mm.
there was a lot more holes in our understanding than there are now. And also,
Okay.
we've really only had a pretty good grasp on science since, say, Isaac Newton, which is what, about
Sure.
400 years ago, right?
Sure.
Yeah, we're only 400 years into this. So
And
um
I hope
such
this
a tiny
isn't
blip for the time we've
I
been
hope
here.
this isn't too skeptical, but I mean, just trying to have epistemic humility with what we know.
Yeah, I
Um,
think we do.
I was going to
I'd say a
say
lot of
like
scientists do.
at the time of ancient times where it's like we use science and we still use science to ground us in knowledge of the universe. The discovery that Earth was at the center of the universe, like that was very comforting because it's like, wow, this is science of the day. We know that the Earth's the center of the universe, and it brought a lot of comfort in that we know this. And then paradigm shift, we figure out, oh, that's not actually what we know. Um, and so I'm curious of like what science of today, once again, at the risk of being too skeptical, I'm just curious of what science of today, tomorrow is like, oh yeah, that actually was we were tackling it wrong. Um,
Oh yeah, it could all go out the window. We could find out something totally different about all kinds of different things, right? Theory of evolution, it's a theory because we haven't observed like evolution like in real time, right? We're studying
yeah,
all the clues. Well, in a lot of ways we have actually. We've observed, like microorganisms evolving. We've seen new species. So yeah, in some ways we have observed it, but um but mostly it's based on like rock formations, fossils, things of
I
that
was
sort,
gonna
plants and all that stuff,
I was
a
gonna
lot of
ask
things left
you
behind.
your thoughts on like abiogenesis and how that has never been experientially proven. So I'm curious if that's a tenable theory.
Yeah, I would say it is in the sense that they've gotten to the step of protocells, which are
Okay,
like right before actual cells, right?
fair.
So scientists have been able to uh, see protocells manifest from conditions that they have created.
Hmm,
But it just takes a lot of time to go from protocell to cell.
gotcha.
So um, it's almost like when the Wright brothers discovered flight, there were several competing groups that were
Hmm,
trying to make the first airplane, right? Sustain flight. And they all knew the mechanics, they all knew the physics, they all knew like the components they needed. They just couldn't quite put it together. And they just had to keep making adjustments, tweaking. Well, they knew the steps. They just couldn't get it done until they did. And
hmm,
I think that's kind of where we are with abiogenesis. They have all the steps in place. They know the mechanics. They just have to put it together.
hmm.
And
You know,
it just may take a while, but they're getting closer and closer since
I've
1952. Yeah, when they first discovered it in 1952, which is pretty amazing.
that is kind
How
of
far they've
crazy.
come. Yeah, yeah, how far they've come.
I really enjoyed chatting with you. I guess my one last thing I'd be curious
Same.
to pick your brain about is I was having this discussion with my buddy he was really digging his heels about being rational. He's like, I'm a rational being. Rationality is the best thing we have. And I was like, I don't disagree, but I think there's we're lying to ourselves a little bit in the sense that we live strictly rational because and I mentioned um okay, like there's more data showing that it's more dangerous to get into a car than an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
However, that rational, data of possibility and or probability rather, you could tell yourself that, but your brain and your nervous system still has maybe a different response when you're in a plane versus in a car. And I would argue that that points towards there's a more like intuitive or like emotionally driven part of us that um, I would say points towards there's something post-rational that is necessary to involve us in our life approach, and I would say that's the domain of like God and more of a
Mm,
superstitious territory outside of
yeah,
science.
that seems to me to be a bit of a leap, right?
Okay,
I don't like. I would like to see I see the reasoning behind it. I'd like to see the evidence behind it.
okay, I mean that's valid. um I do have to get after it today, but it was really
Okay.
nice chatting with
Yeah, it's
you.
good talk. Yeah,
I give
appreciate
you a
you coming
follow,
up,
man.
Metawave. All right. Well, hey, yeah, come on back another time. We can mix it up again. It's good talk.
Likewise, have a
All
good
right.
one.
Have a good one. It's I was on a bad streak of having just some insufferable DS come up. And so it was nice to have a pleasant one, like a personable and pleasant conversation with the deist. So it's good, nice change of pace because like the last several were, ugh, they're just some insufferable people. So it's good to have that kind of conversation. Um, so that's the way I see it. Too many hate chats last year to now. Yeah, I don't know. Too skeptical is I missed that. It is a bit of a dog whistle, like too skeptical. Although I would call like conspiracy theorists too skeptical. Like when you start throwing away like established things that because you just can't trust it because there's some type of like something going on. I think I would call something like that too skeptical, right? But yeah, that was pleasant. It was pleasant. So All right. Next. Let's go to Jose. And looks like Jose is having some connection issues. So, Jose, maybe take a look at your Wi-Fi and then request back up. So let's look at Odimus Sampson. How's it going?
Yeah, I bumped into the conversation,
Okay.
and yeah.
All right.
And
Can you tell us your age and
I'm a
the pronouns
Christian.
you prefer? Okay, you're a Christian. Can you tell us your age and the pronouns that you prefer to use?
I'm 36 years
Okay.
old, and I'm a Kenyan.
You're Kenyan? Okay. That's your nationality. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you for that.
Kenyan.
So pronouns are
That's my
like
nationality.
he, him, she, her,
Like
they,
he,
them.
yeah. I'm he
Okay. He, him.
because I'm a man. Yeah.
Okay. And Odima, what's your best evidence that God is real?
My best evidence. I believe that God is real because we've got scientists, and the scientists deal with facts and evidences, but there are things that the scientists can't create, they can't do. For
Like what?
instance, there's no time that we've seen the sun go down like shut, like the way the lights normally shut. There are things that we can't explain that have been created by a greater being.
Okay. So things that, like what? What's been created by a greater being? What's an example?
As an example, will be the sun.
Okay, the
that
sun
gives everybody. Yeah, the sun.
Okay, how do you know it's created by a greater being? Because the scientific evidence we have is that it was not created by a greater being.
Yeah, the scientists try to explain everything, but they haven't really satisfied people properly. It doesn't satisfy, because at the end of the day.
Well, how does that?
Yeah,
but how does
at the
that
end of the
explain?
day-
But how does that prove that a God is real? Just because they can't explain everything to everybody's satisfaction.
Okay. That one we'll have to take it by what we Christians say, by faith. We just
Okay,
have to
by faith.
take it by faith. Yeah.
Okay, so if we take it by faith, then Odima, then that would mean that every religion is true, because people in every religion have faith. So we've got like 4,000 religions out there, so all of them are true because all of them have faith.
So there is okay, sometimes, for instance, you can have somebody can have a relationship with maybe a lady. You want to have a relationship, huh? So when you start feeling the love, you start feeling you are in love with that lady, huh? There is a feeling that people feel different when you are a Christian, for instance. There's a different feeling. You feel something close to you,
right?
And
right. I understand. I mean, you fall in love with a person, you have a different feeling, but that doesn't make Christianity true, because there's people in other religions who have feelings too, right? They feel that their God is real. So but that doesn't make it true.
but according to the stories of the Bible, according to the Bible, there are two spirit. There's an evil spirit and there's the good spirit, which is God to us.
Okay. But how do
And
we know
there-
that's true?
And there sometimes when somebody can come in like pretending to be good. So there are religions that kind of like try to make other religions look bad.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah.
Faith, mark your
they
cards.
are-
Mark your cards, everybody. Faith. And okay, so I'm
Yeah.
still not understanding how what you're saying makes the Bible true.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's but okay. But what I can really say, what is I support it. I support Christianity.
Mhm.
I know that there are other religions, but as for me, I stand for Christianity, and I believe that God is there.
Okay,
There is
great.
God.
Great. Now, why do you
Yeah, I
believe it?
believe that.
Why do you believe it?
I believe that God exists because sometimes people have got problems in life,
Hmm.
and different kind of problems like us here in Africa.
Hmm.
Some of us are not really financially stable,
Yeah.
so we normally have problems, financial problems, this kind of problems, sicknesses, and we
Right.
pray to a God,
Hmm.
and things happen. You see, if you take a seed to a soil and plant that seed, you just believe that the seed is going to grow. That belief is the
Sure.
belief in the
Yeah.
existence of a mighty being. Yeah.
Now, do you understand that a lot of the problems that Africa has, not all of them, but a lot of them, a lot of the
Yeah.
problems that Africa has in just in different countries. And I'm not saying it's all over Africa, but in a lot of places in Africa,
Yeah.
a lot of those problems, do you realize that those were caused by religious groups like Christians? I mean, going all the way back to like the 1400s. We can go all the way back and we can trace it all the way back.
You see I think okay, it might have contributed a little bit.
Yeah.
Religion might have contributed a little bit to the problems of Africa and the rest of the world, but religion is man trying to find the truth. And
Sure.
and the truth is somewhere. The truth is somewhere.
Oh,
And
I agree
the
with
truth
that.
isn't, yeah, the truth isn't that there's no supernatural being. There's a supernatural being.
Okay, but we don't know that
There's
for sure. Yeah. So how do we know that? Like there is a supernatural being. Like what clues give you tell you that a supernatural being is real? Uh-oh. Reckless, I think he went into the vortex.
Uh-oh.
We don't
Did
have
you say he was from Africa?
Yeah. It's from
That's
Kenya.
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Kenya.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. But
Wow.
yeah. Well, I hope he's all right.
Yeah.
'Cause yeah. All right. Well, hey, Odima, we're gonna move on to another one. But hey, when you get your internet sorted out or what's going on there, just come on back in and we'll finish the conversation. So sorry I had to get cut short. And how's it going, Reckless?
Shout out to the deconstruction community fucking yet again. I start my grief therapy next week, Monday. Like,
Yay!
I am
Congratulations.
but
Glad you
this
found the
whole
resource.
yeah, and I'm just so like this whole. I've been deconstructing for what 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Not one fucking Christian. Not one Christian to help me with my mental health.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
Grief therapy. Like it's all been in the atheist deconstruction community, and I couldn't be more thankful.
Well, I'm really happy that you got the resources that you were looking for, and that was pretty fast. I think you were on. Was it yesterday or the day before? I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, and I had asked, and 3 people messaged me with resources from
fantastic.
recovering from religion. And so I called and they said, well, we have 2 people that we can have you see under this insurance. And, you know, we can start it next week. And I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I got to do something or I can't. And I'll tell you what, deconstructing and losing the loss of a loved one, it's quite a headbanger.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I know you've life's thrown some curveballs at you lately, but you're still
Yes.
here. You're still here. So
Yes.
it's a testament to you, right?
And let's give some love to Spencer. He's seeing his dad right now. And
Yeah, that's true.
His dad's got so send some extra love
Radio
to Spencer.
Yeah. So everyone is, if you guys know who Radio Spencer is, his dad is at stage 4 cancer. And so looks like it's pretty much on his last days. So if you all could, send Radio Spencer some love, that would be great because
Yes.
just tell him you're thinking about him, but I'm sure he would appreciate it. Yeah. So, all right, well, let's bring up the next guest. So we got 4 waiting in the TikTok queue. So I do one at a time, so just wait your turn. We've got D. How you doing?
What's going on, brother?
Hey, I'm doing well. Can I get your age and which pronouns you prefer?
He, him.
He, him. All
I'm
right.
37.
Okay. And which God do you believe in?
There's only one true God that I believe in.
All right. Which one is that? Is it the God of the Bible, the God of the Torah, the God of the Quran?
Yeah, from the Bible.
Okay.
I've labeled myself as a believer. I understand, my Christian brothers and sisters who follow that faith. I often try to educate people as much as I can with the knowledge that I've obtained by, being a preacher's kid myself. But recently, I just, been wanting to get the information and education for myself. So I reread the Bible, and been doing some extra studying, and I'm just here as a line of communication. I know a lot of Christians get out of hand with how their feelings, and with all they see is atheists, and they just start having emotions. And I'm not that type of person.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. All right, well, let's start.
So
with
I
this.
would like to have a nice educational conversation. I don't take
That's what I'm here for.
To your beliefs and anybody else's beliefs. It's
Okay.
Up to anybody.
It sounds like it's your first time in my life, and I've built a reputation for being pretty chill. So,
I've
I
been
tend to
like
match
seeing
energy.
some of your lives. This is my first time actually getting to be a part of it.
Okay.
I just was like kind of not concerned. I was like wondering what the talk was, and I see how you are calm and cool demeanor, so I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I just match energy.
So I just thought it would be a nice opportunity to have a nice conversation.
Yeah, that sounds good.
We
I like
agree or
that.
not, it is what it is. You feel me?
Absolutely. I like that. And, and I'm not here to convince anybody. In fact, I'm actually I'm here to be convinced. So, that's why I asked for evidence. Yeah. So why don't we just start with this?
Speaking on that, my brother.
Yeah. Why do you believe in God?
It's all right. For me, my life growing up, I've seen things. I've been encountered with, spirits, demons. I've seen things. I've seen God's miracles.
Okay. Oh, I think we lost him too. Reckless. What's going on?
I don't know. Maybe it's the deconstruction God.
Did I get cut off?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, that's what happened. See, people are calling me, and I'm like talking.
Oh, okay. You got a call. Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah.
My
Bingo
fault
board,
about that.
personal experience. Yes. Yes. So,
So yeah, personal experience that I've had,
okay.
you know, I've experienced a lot of things.
I
So,
got
you
you.
know, I've seen myself, you know, blessings, miracles, stuff of that nature. But I think the thing with everybody as a whole, whatever your reason for stop believing, 'cause I think I heard you say you were a Christian at one time.
Yep. For over 30
And
years.
okay.
Mhm. I was going to go in the seminary at one
So
point.
can I ask you what deters you, or what, I mean, switch your mind from being a Christian to where you at now?
Yeah, I read the Bible. So read the Bible, and you read it cover to cover, and you know, the first big thing that jumped out at me was Leviticus 25, 44 through 46, about how they could acquire slaves from the nations around them and call them property. So you could probably guess I'm a little touchy about that. I'm a little sensitive to that. So that's a big problem.
Definitely understandable.
Yeah. That's a big problem. Didn't get really good answers about that. And you know, that's God's law. That was the first, you know, big thing that jumped out at me. And then just as time went on, I've read the Bible multiple times. And in fact, I actually read it on my live here almost every day, if not every day. And none of it gets resolved. It doesn't make sense. So that's just,
so that was your first problem. So
boy, D is popular. Everybody blowing D up. Everybody blowing him up.
You said Leviticus 25, my brother?
44 through 46, yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, if you do go swipe off the app, just come back when you're ready to talk, because I can't hear you when you're away. So just to let you know. Yeah. So I can't hear you now. So yeah, but you can, do your research. I'm not going to stop you from doing that. But yeah, just remember to come back. But if you want, D, I can pull it up so we can read it together if you want. So you don't have to like switch back and forth.
All right, that would help me. Yeah, that would help me. So
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so being a black man,
yeah, I can see how that would bother you.
Yeah, and a young one at that at the time. I was 17 at the time, and yeah, reading that, it was jarring. It was very jarring, and so when I got to that, yeah, that was problematic. Okay, so here I'll have to scroll down a little bit, but yeah, basically it says, as for the male and female slaves whom you may have, it is from the nations around you that you may acquire male and female slaves. You may also acquire them from among the aliens residing with you and from their families who are with you, who have been born in your land. They may be your property. You may keep them as a possession for your children after you, for them to inherit as property. So you can pass them down to your kids. You pass slaves down to your kids. And then
I believe that version says slaves. I think the King James version might use servant. Either way, it doesn't really say comfortable.
Yeah, but it says property. That's the problem.
When you use slaves, it's a problem. You feel me? And what the word servant, it wasn't supposed to be looked at as the same equals to slave, because in different contexts of the Bible, different books of the Bible, the two words get used differently as far as context.
Oh yeah, but I want to make one little kind of. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to make one important distinction here. The distinction I'm making is the part of property. And so are we saying then, D, that it's good to own people as property?
What I would ask to that, don't people have servants in their homes now?
They have servants, but are those servants property? That's the difference.
Yeah, that is a big difference, because context doesn't matter. I would definitely say property definitely would not sit right with me either. But okay. I don't believe that that's what God purposely intended for us to, do right now. First of all, that's Old Testament. So a lot of things people need to understand. Old Testament, a lot of stuff got left in the Old Testament once we got the resurrection of Jesus Christ and all of that. So a lot of the things that happened in the Old Testament, if you read the New Testament, it doesn't go on in the New Testament. Like a lot of the sacrifices that happened and stuff like that, it had stopped once Jesus was the ultimate sacrifice.
But there's slavery in the New Testament, though.
No, I didn't say. Well, the slavery thing is different. Yeah, because that still was going on. The slavery still was. I mean, through time, God.
Yeah. So I'm talking about
I
slavery.
mean,
Yeah. I mean, we're just,
so the
this is one
slavery, if
example.
you want to talk
but-
about the slavery thing, that's one thing that God is let happen. I don't why did it let it happen. You can ask God why he let the devil do what he did to Job. You understand? There's a lot of
Right.
things you can question God about, but what the one thing that you need to understand was the message around everything.
Okay.
Now, I can't give you the message specifically with Leviticus right now, because I would have to really read the whole chapter over again to really get the nuance of the story.
You have a daughter?
When we're talking about slaves and stuff like that, that's something, because at the same time, God commanded Moses to free slaves. So at the same time, it is a kind of a confusing thing to deal with, because yes, God clearly mentioned you can have a servant in your home, but at the same time, you want Moses to free the slaves that, Caesar had. So I mean, I understand your conflict with that.
Okay. Do you have a daughter?
I have a stepdaughter.
You have a stepdaughter. Okay.
Yeah, so I still consider her as my daughter.
Yeah. I got a daughter too. My daughter's 15. So is this law from God good? Would you ever sell your stepdaughter?
When a man sells his daughter as a slave, she shall not go out as a male slaves do. No, I would never do that.
Yeah, I would never do that either. And so why does it say when a man sells his daughter as a slave? It doesn't say if. It doesn't even say don't sell your daughter as a slave. It says when, as if it's an expected action, right? So
is it expected action, or is he explaining what's going on in that time?
So when? Yeah.
Yeah, so
she shall not go out as male slaves.
I'm not saying that you're wrong, because I could be wrong too. To me, it's all up to your interpretation of it. You could be right. It could be like what you just said, or it could be him explaining what's going on in that given time.
Yeah, and I can give you the fuller context, because the key word is this phrase here: she shall not go out. That's the key phrase. So if we look at, as I said, I've read the Bible many, many times. So if we look at that phrase, she shall not go out, what that refers to is, if you go to the beginning of Exodus 21, this talks about all the ways that, and I think this is what you were alluding to, servants, because there is, like a 7-year limit for a lot of Hebrew slaves, right? When you buy a male Hebrew slave, he shall serve 6 years, but in the 7th, he shall go out a free person.
Like a free person.
So remember that word, remember that phrase, go out
without
a free
debt.
person without debt. All right. So now if we flip to verse 7, it says, she shall not go out as the male slaves do, which means it's forever. She's a slave forever. And this is a Hebrew daughter. And so that doesn't sit right with me. So it would be okay for a father to sell his daughter into slavery, and she never can get out of slavery.
And that is troubling.
And then it gets even better. So if we kind of jump back up here to the beginning, and it says here,
it's a lot of stuff that goes on in the Old Testament. That
it's a lot
crazy.
Goes on.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it is. So
because there's a story in the Bible that I would say too about a man, which you probably going to understand once I tell you the story about. He had 2 daughters, and he was sick, and those 2 daughters had thought to themselves, like, if dad dies, they don't have nobody else to carry out the family. So they thought to themselves, we're going to get our father drunk, and we're both going to sleep with him because he's blind, so he's not going to know who it is.
That's problematic.
And they both did it, and the story just ends.
Yeah.
And
now you can chalk that up.
What was the purpose of this story?
Yeah. Well, like, what's the point of that? Now, I would say, okay, let's just chalk that up. We'll set that on the shelf of free will, right? These daughters just messed up. They got drunk. They messed up. Free will. Okay, we can do that. But if I bring you back to this is God's law. This is the law that he gave, because it says it right here, right in the first verse. These are the ordinances that you shall set before them. The law concerning slaves. This is Mosaic law, right? And so as I said, the daughter cannot go out as the male slaves do. And it says here, if we jump back up to verse
So
4,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but one thing I want to ask, do we know that this came from God, or did this come from man in the Old Testament though?
it says here, these are the ordinances that you shall set before them. This is when God gave Moses and Aaron the Mosaic law.
The Mosaic, okay. So this is
Yeah.
after Moses freed the slaves. So this
Yep.
happened.
Yep.
Okay.
And this is the Mosaic law right here. And this is God saying this. These are the ordinances that you shall set before them. So if you read through Exodus, it'll tell you, I'm going to give you some laws. This is what you're going to give to the people. And then this is a continuation of that. These are the ordinances that you shall set before them. So if we jump to verse 4, just that whole phrase, she shall not go out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's underscored by this verse. Because, as I said, a male Hebrew slave can go out after 6 years in the 7th year. And it says here, if his master gives him a wife. Now, where do you think he got that wife from?
I'll say, ask that one more time, bro. I'm sorry.
So if you look at verse 4, it says, if his master, the male Hebrew slave, gives him a wife. Okay, I just want to take that little, I'm sorry. There we go. If that little phrase there, if his master gives him a wife. Yeah, just read that, just that part right there. And if you consider it, what we understand is the way that the master got him a wife was to buy the daughter of another man, to buy a man's daughter as a slave. And I can tell you why. That's one way. There were actually several reasons why a man would sell his daughter as a slave. This is one of them. If his master gives him a wife and she bears him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out alone, the male Hebrew slave. He shall go out alone. And so this is right here, the wife. And it says here, the man sells his daughter a slave, she shall not go out as the male slaves do. So the wife and the children are forever in slavery. But if the slave declares, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out a free person, then his master shall bring him there before God. He shall be brought to the door or the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him for life. So there was actually a way to enslave a male Hebrew slave for life. But one of the ways to do it was to give him a wife, and if he falls in love and doesn't want to leave his wife and kids, then you enslave him for life. And so the other ways that they would, there are other reasons they would sell daughters as slaves. It was for like house servants, maid servants. Yes, true. It was for, it was to buy one for their sons as a bride, buy one for their male slaves as a wife. But then the other reason that they would do it is for concubines. And then we see the impact of that later on in the Old Testament. So it is just this understanding that women are property, that they're less than, they're treated as property. They can be bought and sold as commodities, the same you would just buy and sell a cow, because their uteruses were valuable. And yeah, that's troubling. Very troubling.
That is troubling.
Now, I didn't
That's why
understand
a
that when
lot
I
of
was 17.
people
I'll be
like,
fair.
thank God that we don't live in the Old Testament, because a lot of stuff
Right.
just was crazy.
Right.
And I think, you know what I tell Christians sometimes, bro? When I first started reading the Bible over, I told people, y'all lied to me.
See?
Like, I mind you, I'm a believer. I'm a soul believer. Like, but Christians will dead lie to you just because it's telephone game. Like what they heard next person say, the next person say, without actually factually, tracking these things and actually going contextually to the Bible. So I get it.
Yeah.
But what I try to feel like a lot of times though, I feel like people miss the message that the Bible is really saying though.
Well, this is the problem. Because you've got God doing this on one side, right? I like to use this analogy. Let's just say you got an uncle, right? That you see this uncle at the cookout, and for years you've had a great relationship with this uncle, let's just say. And he's told you some very wise things. He's given you some really good messages that has helped you in your life, okay? and you really
Mhm.
look up to this uncle, right, D? And then one day you find out that this uncle's been doing human trafficking, or he's done it in the past, right? He's done a lot of human trafficking in the past. Maybe he doesn't do it anymore, but he's done a lot in the past, but never got caught, never did time, nothing, never apologized for it, nothing. But he just has, and you ask him about it. Yeah, I did that. And then doesn't really say anything else about it. Now, how are you going to look at this uncle after that?
Definitely gonna have some mixed feelings.
You-
Definitely gonna have some mixed
Right?
feelings.
Right?
Definitely.
Okay. So yeah. And so that's kind of how I would portray that as well. At minimum, I would have mixed feelings. I'm certainly not sitting next to him at the table when we're sitting about ready to eat. Not gonna sit next to him. Probably not gonna talk to him anymore. And so that doesn't, so my whole point is, D, is that what happened in the Old Testament doesn't change it. What happens in the New Testament, this new message doesn't change what happened in the Old Testament, because there's no explanation for any of this.
Understood.
Yeah.
So even to the fact that, I mean, I know you don't really believe in this stuff now, but him sending Jesus down to be sacrificed, you don't feel like that was maybe part of his atonement in a way?
It doesn't say that in the Bible, number one.
Not that I'm making an excuse for him, not that that's
I
my
know.
belief. I'm just asking. Just
Oh, I
for us
know.
having
That's actually a good
conversation.
question. Yeah, it's a good question. It doesn't say that in the Bible, that it is an atonement, that God was trying to make something up to us, because that was the plan the whole time, right? Because there's prophecies in the Old Testament. So that was the plan, was to send Jesus down to be sacrificed. Now, if you take those prophecies as true, but then the second part of it is, then I started looking into, we don't have any evidence of a resurrection. We don't have any evidence of an ascension to heaven. And those are the two key things you need to believe in order to be a Christian, right? That's what the salvation of believing in Jesus is about, is that he rose from the dead on the third day and then went to heaven. Without that, you don't have a belief. So we don't have any evidence of that. So how do we know that's true?
I would only like, as far as the only thing to me that you should be able to get a some type of artifact or something from is maybe the tomb where they said Jesus was laying. But other than that, I don't see how we can really get any type of artifact proof from that time. But what I would say, in just reference to who, if whether you believe that Jesus was here or not, I would just go into, because a lot of people make a big thing or deal about the miracles Jesus performed, right? And I would tell people it wasn't about the miracles that he performed. It wasn't about the acts that he actually did to perform those miracles. If you notice by reading the Bible, what did Jesus ask every person before he performed those miracles?
He asked, in a lot of ways, some ways he asked, do you believe? Because there's the one in John where he asked
That's
the
exactly
person,
what I was
do you
looking
believe?
for, my brother.
Mhm.
Was do you believe?
He asked, do you believe? And there was one that said, I'm not sure. I'm not even sure. Like, he didn't even
So
know who Jesus was, but Jesus still healed him, right?
Let's walk down the storylines of certain miracles that happened when Jesus. Well, he healed. Well, in the Bible they say he healed many blind people. The one man
That's what it says,
who
yeah.
Jesus, he put the mud over his eyes, and he said,
Mhm.
if you believe that you can see, go to the water, wash them off, and you shall see.
Mhm.
It wasn't about the clay. It wasn't about God putting the clay over his eyes, praying. It wasn't about none of that. It was about his belief. The same thing with the woman with the issue of blood. She didn't even get told to believe. She just knew in her mind that all I had to do was touch the hem of his garment and I'll be healed.
Sure.
Whether you want to believe it or not, at the end of the day, why I stick to that point, because even to this day, you hear about the power of belief.
Yeah. And
So, in that,
I hear about the power of belief all the time. And I got to tell you, D, that so many times I have witnessed people who have had strong belief. Because remember, I was in the church for over 30 years. Who had strong belief and nothing happened for them. Like me, I had very, very strong belief, very strong conviction. I was you know, I was about as strong a believer as anybody out there. And turns out none of my prayers were answered. Turns out, and a lot of people I saw who had very strong belief, their prayers weren't answered. We've got parents every day whose kids are in the hospital, born with cancer, born with Edwards syndrome, born with Lesch-Nyhan syndrome, that their prayers don't get answered. And so it may have said that in the Bible, but it's not happening in real life.
I heard you, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that. I mean,
and one other thing I want to add on to that, it does, you're right, it does say in the Bible, it does say, if you believe, whatever you ask in my name, so that the Father may be glorified in the Son, for anything, I will do it, right? John 14, verses 12 through 14, says it right there. I will do whatever you ask in my name so that the Father will be glorified in the Son. If in my name you ask for anything, I will do it. So that's proof right there. Like it should be a done deal. It says it
but
further.
I'm sure I would
John
say, brother,
15. If you abide
I'm
in
sure
me and my words
Job
abide in
felt the
me,
same way.
ask for whatever you wish and it will be done for you. Which is interesting because a lot of people tell me, well, God's not a genie, but it says it right here. Ask for whatever you wish and it will be done for you. If you abide in me and my words abide in you. And that was me. John 16. On that day you ask nothing of me. Very truly, I tell you, if you ask anything of the Father in my name, he will give it to you. Matthew 21, verse 22. Whatever you ask for in prayer with faith, you will receive. Mark 11:24. So I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. So yeah, power of belief, just like what you said. But we have people all over the world whose prayers are not getting answered. And so why is that, Dan?
Why is that? I mean, the Bible explains some of that too. Sometimes God works on some of his most troubled warriors. And I feel like I'm just assuming, just from talking to you, you seem like a very put together adult. I feel like you probably are a good person at heart. So I hate that whatever did go on in your life, whatever you prayed for, it wasn't answered in that timing.
Yeah, but that wasn't why I stopped believing. That wasn't why.
Oh,
It came
good.
way later. I realized
I'm
this
just
years
saying
later.
this is in reference to what we're
So
talking about.
It wasn't church hurt, if that's what you're kind of getting at. It wasn't that.
No, I'm just getting at the fact that I'm just having sympathy for you, just from the standpoint of,
Okay, you don't need to.
I'm just assuming that maybe you were just a good Christian. That's all I'm assuming. And maybe God did have you in the back burner because you know what? He felt like you were strong enough to get through what you were going through. There's somebody probably that's worse off.
A lot of
than you.
maybes.
You understand? It's
a
a lot of maybes, but it's possible. That's all I'm saying. Because trust me, brother, like living as a pre-K, I go through a lot. So I just went through a car accident today. And I'm like, why me? You feel me?
Yeah.
Why me?
Sorry
but
to
at
hear
the
that.
same time, I'm still thankful that I'm on this phone with you. You understand? It could be worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
I'm glad you're here. I mean, I'm really glad you're here.
exactly. I'm thankful that I'm still here being able to, I mean, it's
because I don't wish no ill
will
will on anybody. Yeah, I don't wish no ill will on
it
anybody.
is what it is.
And yeah, it is what it is.
And life is going life, but at the end of the day, you know what I mean? I have the belief that maybe this was a sign. And sometimes, bro, I honest to God, signs do happen. And a lot of things that I have asked for, it might not have came in the form that I might have wanted it, but it still came to me. So a lot of times
I feel that.
Sometimes God might have sent something your way and you might not have thought it was what you wanted, but it was exactly the message God needed you to see.
Well, let me ask you this, D, because I heard, like, in the last, I don't know, 3-4 minutes, I heard a lot of, possiblies, might be's, maybes, and trust me, bro, right? I heard a lot of that in the last 4 minutes from you. And you would agree none of that's evidence. That's just possibilities. That's thinking out loud, reasoning, things like that. But none of that's evidence. And so the thing is, though, D, is I've heard that from people of other religions. They can point to these things that you're talking about. Like Hindus pray. Hindus have gurus that perform miracles. They walk on water. They heal people. And hundreds of thousands of people are sitting there watching this in India, right?
Uh-huh.
And so if we're going to take experience, we can pull experiences from every religion. And if we're going to use experience to demonstrate the truth of a particular belief, then that means that every belief is true. And that can't be true, right? Because then you would even go further and say, well, a person's lack of experience would demonstrate that it's not true. And we can't, you wouldn't buy that either, right? So
No.
I'm only saying that if we're taking just experience, it seems like it's present in every religion, and why not just be a Hindu?
Well, I'm not familiar with Hindus as far as their religious practice, but I mean, what you're saying would make sense. But in regards to other religions that I do know about, for mainly just, Muslim and Jews,
Mm-hmm.
um, I can dive into certain things about one thing about Jews that I will say is that it never was meant to be religion. They were more so a people than a religion. Um,
I don't think they would agree with that.
I
I mean, it
I
was
know
a
they
way of
wouldn't,
life.
but
It was like,
it
because
was
it
more
had
so
culture
because,
and
mind you,
system and
they're all most
laws.
of them from Judea, and a lot of those we would call Judeans, but a lot of them also we would be called Jews back then. So I mean, it's
Well,
a
there's
tricky. So
Israelites, there's Hebrews, there's the
yeah.
ethnicity, the
So there's other
culture,
ways. Yeah, there's
but
other.
there's also the religion involved in that. Yeah. Like there's a lot of Jewish people who aren't religious. You're right.
And then with Muslims, I mean, they came after Christianity. So I mean, I don't want to offend anybody religious, so I'm trying to choose my words wisely.
Well, you
But
just don't believe it. Yeah. I think you can probably just leave it at that. You don't believe it.
I'll
It doesn't ring true to you.
have to say
Yeah.
it like that.
Yeah. It
But
doesn't ring true to you. And that's fine. I mean, it doesn't ring true to you. And just like none of them, but see, that's the thing. That's what you and I have in common. None of those ring true to me. The only difference between you and me is you believe in one more God than I do. That's it. But you're atheist to all the other gods out there, except the one that you believe in, right? So it's just the same thing. It's just one more God.
I mean, I can appreciate the way you put it, I guess. I mean, I just enjoyed the conversation we had.
It was good talk, man. Yeah, it was good
Yeah,
talk.
it was good.
Well, hey, yeah, I think, I don't know. I mean, we're up against a vote, but I think we're kind of at the end of this here. So but you're welcome to come back another day if there's more you want to talk about. I'm here almost every day at this
Yeah,
time.
man, no problem.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, God bless you no matter what, bro. And I wish the best for you, my brother.
All right, D. Well, enjoy the rest of your day and good luck on your car.
All right, you too.
All right.
All right.
So I think though that like kind of pose it that way. Didn't this guy come up before? I think I don't remember talking to D before this. Yes, Grumpy. True. But I don't remember talking to D before, but it was pleasant, it was pleasant, polite. So I'm good with that. Do I have a wife? Yes, I do. And yeah, my wife is in remission from breast cancer and coming up on a year, and didn't pray once. Didn't pray one time. So, okay, Odima Sampson is back. So let's see if we can finish out this conversation. All right. So we got about 15 minutes left in that. So, all right, Odima.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back up. So we were talking about experience. Yeah. And
Yes.
thank you, Jade. So like I was telling the previous guy, and I told you beforehand,
Yes.
every experience, if you're going to use experience as evidence, that means every religion is true. So,
Yeah.
so when Hindus witness gurus healing people and walking on water, that makes Hinduism true, right?
Yeah.
It does?
But if you check the Old Testament, whereby Moses came with a rod, and the pharaohs also came with a rod. So there's a possibility that the other religions, which for my opinion are being maybe are trying to dilute the real religion, which is Christianity, to
Interesting.
my opinion.
You know what's interesting
Yeah.
about that is that the other religions
Yes.
say the exact
Yeah.
same thing. You know, Hinduism, do you know what the Maya is in Hinduism?
No.
It is the delusion of the world that's been pulled over your eyes. So Hindus will say to you, Ojima, that you're just
Yes.
there's an illusion that it's not real, and that's actually Brahma and Krishna and Vishnu and Ganesh that are trying to show you the truth. I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense,
Yeah.
but essentially they would tell you that you are disillusioned, that you don't have a right. So how would you demonstrate to them that you are not in a delusion and that you have the true belief? How would you demonstrate that to them?
Okay. According to the Bible and according to the Christianity, we don't have to have an image. The Bible says that we should not build an image. We believe in a spirit God.
Okay. So they
We
believe
believe in a
they
spirit
believe in
God.
spirits too. So
They believe in spirits, but they have to put the images. They have
to put the images?
Have to be next to.
how do we know that's true?
They have to be next to the idols.
Yeah. How do you know that's
The
true?
idol.
How do you know that's true?
Okay. I see the idols everywhere. Even here in Kenya, there are temples, there are Hindu temples.
Understood.
And
But how do
they've
you
got
know? How
idols
do you know
everywhere.
what you're saying from the Bible is true? How do you know the Bible is true?
I know the Bible is true because I feel the presence of God every
Okay.
time.
They feel the presence of their God,
I
so
feel-
that makes Hinduism true, right?
The presence can also be the same way like the miracle that happened between Moses and the pharaohs.
But how do you know
You understand?
how do you know that's true?
I can't explain. Can't
Okay.
explain that.
Can't explain. So they can't explain either. And so if we get to this point
Yeah.
where we can't explain, then if we
Yeah.
don't know, if we can't explain that it's true, then why do you believe it?
Yeah. You see, you have to believe in something.
Why?
Everybody has to believe in something.
Yeah, I believe in things with
Because
evidence. So, but I don't know if we have to believe in things, but I believe in things with evidence. But why do you have to believe in something?
Because that's what makes us human. You see, every human being believes in something.
Yeah, but like I said, I believe in things with
Yeah.
evidence. So why do we have to believe in something without evidence?
There are things in this world whereby we just have to believe by faith.
Why?
Like for instance,
Why do we have to believe?
instance,
Hold on. Why do we have to
if-
believe by faith? You can go in your example, but I just need to know, why do you have to believe by faith?
because for instance, we have to believe by faith because there's some things for instance, for example, if somebody is traveling from one country to another, somebody will call his loved one and tell the loved one that I will be there, I'm coming, you see, I will arrive. So yeah,
Right.
that's faith.
Okay.
That's the faith.
That's faith, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's
Yeah, that's faith.
that's a certain type of faith, right? And would you say, so if you get a call from your friend who says, I'm coming
Yeah.
to visit you, Odima, you would say that's faith,
Yes.
that they're coming, right? Now, are you going to know whether or not they will visit you, that they will actually visit you? Like, will you find out in your lifetime? If they say, I'm coming to visit you next week, will you know for
Yeah.
sure whether or not they visited you?
Whether will I know whether they visited me or whether they will visit me?
So if they said to you, hey, Odima, I'm going to visit you next
Yeah.
week, and you said, okay, but you have to
Yes.
wait a week, right? You'll know within a
Yeah.
week whether or not they visited you, right? You'll know,
Yeah.
of course. So that type of faith, yes. But see, the thing is that when I don't consider that faith, and the reason why is because you have evidence that this person will come visit you, number one, and number two, because say they have always kept their promises, right? And
Yes.
okay, that would be some type of evidence. Like you think they're honest because they've always kept their promises, they've never lied to you, something like that. That would be some type of evidence.
Yeah.
And that you've talked to this
Yeah,
person,
yeah.
so that you know that they're real. The difference, though, Odima, is that the faith in, like when you think about Hebrews 11:1, where it says faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. That kind of faith is belief without evidence. And that type of faith is different than, say, your friend coming to visit you, is because you don't know whether or not God is real. You're not going to find out in this lifetime, are you?
Yeah. But
Right.
but
So
but
you
as
have to
for
wait
me-
until you die to know whether or not God is real.
no,
That's belief without evidence.
as for me, I know God is real because I've passed through a lot of trials in life.
Mhm.
And I think if you are alone, for instance, you've said that your wife has got cancer. You've said that
Yeah, she's in remission from cancer. Yeah, she doesn't have cancer right now.
she's in remission
It's free.
from cancer.
Yeah, what it means is that it doesn't mean she'll never have cancer again. It just means she doesn't have it now.
Okay, she doesn't have it now.
Mhm.
Okay, so just if somebody kind of
Exactly,
like,
Jade.
okay, I think I'll leave it for the next person to.
Okay.
to
All right.
talk.
Well, hey, Odima, I appreciate you coming up and finishing our conversation. Thank you for being polite and courteous. Have a good day.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Would you like an announcement? Because I don't know where Ember is. Where is our friend Ember?
it's all right. Ember's taking
Okay.
Ember's taking a little vacation. That's all right.
Okay.
Other than, tap the screen, show
No
some love.
preaching.
Yeah, no preaching. But you guys are doing a stand-up job in the chat, just letting everybody know. So you can just tell, they can just find out, right? They can just fuck around,
Fuck
find out. There you go.
out.
Yeah, fuck around and find out. Give you all something to do.
Yes. I
But
miss Ember.
not
Where
that you
is
have
she?
nothing to do.
Or where are they? Damn it.
They're taking a little vacation. So that's all. Just
Oh,
taking a little
nice.
break from TikTok. Yeah, taking a break from TikTok.
That's all right.
Yeah. Just sometimes you got to take some personal time and all that stuff,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
yeah. So I think it's good. Self-care. I think self-care is number one. You've heard me say that many times. Self-care
Oh,
is
yeah.
number one. Yeah. So
Yes.
they're taking some self-care, and that's a great, healthy thing to do. I miss them, but you know,
Yes.
self-care is way more important. So they'll be back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they'll be back.
Oh, yes.
I'm confident they'll be back. So yeah, I think that's the thing so it sounds like it was just a feeling. Okay. It's a feeling. It's fine. But, but still, I believe in things with evidence, and we have no evidence that God is real. All right.
You know what was bugging me
What's that?
was I had a whole bunch of people in my inbox the other day just completely like telling me that I needed Jesus during the time of my dad's passing, like using my dad's death as a crutch to get me back into the belief.
Oh yeah. It's It's
We have a
it's dirty.
tornado warning. Okay.
It's dirty. Yeah. All right. Oh, Jessica. Hey, Jessica.
Hey, Trust.
How you doing, friend?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Doing well. So you guys are doing a stand-up job in chat. You're just holding it down.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was at work at first, but then I went on a break and I'm like, oop, let me
Okay.
get to muting because they're just over here preaching. No preaching in chat, guys.
Yeah, no
We
preaching.
we
no
heard it all
caps.
before. Nothing y'all can say that we
Yeah.
haven't heard.
Yeah.
Sean, we got to
Yeah.
go to the bathroom. There's a tornado warning.
Oh goodness.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Be safe. We'll bring up Lamb is
All
coming.
right.
Yeah, while you chill in the
Okay.
bathroom. What's up, Lamb is
Bye,
coming.
Reckless.
Lamb is coming. How you doing?
Yo, what's up, bro?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks.
Hey,
for
I got a
waiting.
question, man.
Yeah, before you do that, can I get your age and which pronouns you prefer?
My age, I'm 22.
Okay. And then which pronouns
You
do you
said
prefer?
my age and what else? I'm sorry.
Your pronouns.
I'm a man, so I
You're a
say
man?
he.
Okay. He? All right. Okay.
Yeah, he.
And then the Lamb is coming, so you're a
Yeah, I
Christian?
appreciate you.
Yeah. You're a Christian? Believe in the God of the Bible?
Yeah, I'm a Christian,
Okay. All right. You
Yes,
said you had a
sir.
question. Yeah, what do you got?
but I wasn't gonna really talk about the Bible much because I know you probably don't believe in it and stuff. My question was, how do you think we all got here? Like, do you believe like the Big Bang Theory or like evolution? Like, I'm just wondering.
Let's see. Ultimately, the laws of physics, and I think that the universe has always been here. We have evidence for that. We have evidence for evolution through natural selection and adaptation, and we have evidence for abiogenesis. So that's what I believe. Now, it's not 100% certain, no, but that's the evidence we have. Could it change? Sure, but that's what we got. Now, what's your evidence that God put us here?
No, so do we have evidence of like, I'm asking like humans particularly, about humans particularly, like when did humans get here?
Yeah, through evolution, through natural selection, adaptation. Somewhere around 300,000 years ago. That's when we first appeared on the planet.
Okay. And so do you think that our bodies point to order?
Yes, through like the laws of physics, evolution through natural selection, adaptation, stuff like that. Yeah, it does. Now, how does that demonstrate
Okay.
that a God is real? Just because it points
So like,
to order?
you mean like our bodies are designed to adapt?
That's probably why we have come as far as we have, is because our
I would-
magnificent ability to adapt. Yeah, we're highly adaptable.
So basically, like we could both agree we're designed to adapt.
I would
Humans.
disagree with that. I don't think we're designed. We evolved to adapt.
Or we evolved to adapt. So, I mean, I believe that. And I'm not really here to prove. Like, I just was wondering because I believe that our bodies show design and order.
Okay.
And
well, what
I know that a lot of
give me an example of something that our bodies show design. What's an
Go ahead.
example? Yeah, what's an example? Just give me an example of something that our body has about it that shows you that it's designed.
like our the fact that like our immune system, nervous system,
Okay.
skeletal system.
What about it though? Like what tells you it's designed? Yeah, there's systems, but what exactly is it that says design? Because see, I was an engineer for over 25 years.
Because
I did a
if
lot of
one-
systems architecture and design. So yeah, help me out here. Like tell me like what's an example
Okay,
of
so like for
just pick
instance,
one.
like a building,
Mhm.
like a building, you know, for instance, if people are born with what we call maybe like defects, you know,
Hmm.
some people have low white blood cells, stuff like that. The reason why we would call those things conditions is because our bodies are not designed to be born like that. We were born
Well, that
with the
presupposes
design
design, right?
into our human nature.
That's,
So like
yeah, that
we don't
assumes
see
design. Yeah.
we don't see a building and say there's no builder.
Yeah. However, we can look at a building and say there's a builder, and the reason why is because it's got specific characteristics that indicate that it was built by people. Like, for example, alloys, right? So alloys don't occur in nature, right? They're like mixtures of metals, right? Like steel. So if you've got steel girders on a building, that tells you, yeah, had to be designed because nobody, those don't occur naturally, right? The structure of the building does not
Okay.
occur naturally, right? So, like, for example,
So what question? Not to cut you off.
yeah, so that's like a category error, right?
Not to. Yeah, I see your point. So not to cut you off, but okay, let's forget about us and let's go back to the original humans. How are they evolved?
From their common ancestor.
What's
So
their
they
common
evolved.
ancestor?
Oh, I don't know. We'd have to ask a paleontologist, but maybe there's one in here that can, like a scientist in here, can tell us. But like
No, like I mean, if you're, I mean, I feel like
Denisovans,
you know, if you're holding a
Neanderthal,
lot,
I
you
think
should
they
be
were.
able to give a like, because we're going back to like like I said, forget like present day.
What?
I
Which?
feel like
Okay.
in order for
Wait,
me to
wait.
believe
You're
there's
saying
no
that I need to
God.
know everything there is to know about evolution in order to believe it?
No, I didn't say that. I
Okay.
said,
Well, you're saying I don't know the answer, so why does that matter?
I mean, because
I mean, I can find
the
out.
first thing
Yeah, I can find out. I can Google it. It's like
I
right at
mean,
my fingertips.
yeah, I mean that's cool. I'm just saying that I thought you knew because I asked how we got here, and you said the universe has always been a thing,
Mhm.
and then you know you went into describing that, and I asked you about humans, and you said we evolved
Yeah, we
and
did.
adapted. So
Mhm.
I'm asking about the original humans because what did the original humans? How did the original humans get on Earth? And you described
Yeah, we
that we
evolved from a
got here
common
from our
ancestor.
ancestor.
Common
Yeah.
ancestor. Yeah.
So, and I'm just asking, who's that common ancestor? What's that common ancestor? That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Uh,
can we ask you why do you believe in God?
I mean, I'll answer that. I feel like I asked the question first.
yeah. So so if we just go to human evolution, it tells us right here, the Homo sapiens is a distinct species of the hominid family of primates, which also include all the great apes. Let's see. So it says here it was ape-like ancestors. So you can say Australopithecus afarensis. That was one of them. Dryopithecus. That's one of our common ancestors. So
And
there's several. Yeah.
but those are based on hypotheses given by scientists.
Yeah. What's a
If you do your research.
hypothesis? What's a hypothesis?
Shortly educated guess.
It's an educated guess. So when does a hypothesis become a theory?
You tell me.
When it goes through the scientific method, right? So when they do, it's because like a hypothesis is like an educated best guess based on observation, right? And so when they formulate a hypothesis, this is what we think it is, and then they test it. They do further study and analysis, and then based on that, and they collect data, and then they analyze the data from that analysis. They look at that, and then they come up with a conclusion of what the data points to. And then after that point, Lamb, when several other scientists peer review their findings, the original scientists' findings, and if they all concur, if they all agree, or like the overwhelming majority, let's just say agree, then it becomes a
Yeah.
theory. I think it's
Yeah.
consensus if they all agree.
Yeah.
Now, if there's
I like
some
that you
who
said
get
that.
it wrong, like if some who find errors, then the original scientists usually and the other group will go back and they'll recheck everything, and they'll say either they'll say nope,
Yeah.
you missed something here, or yep, you're right, and then they'll revise their findings. So it is through
Yeah.
this trial and error process of looking at the data and multiple people looking at it where we come up with theories. So it's not a hypothesis. It's actually
Yeah.
further than that. It's not a
Okay.
guess. It's
So
based
it's
on the
okay.
evidence that they have. Yeah.
So we could both agree, you know, although it's not a hypothesis, it's also not 100% proof.
It's not 100% proof. So let's kind of go
Okay.
back to you because
Wait.
Well,
no,
hold on. Yeah, no, you're
I
done
just let
because
you.
I
I
want
just let you
I
say
need
your
to.
part. I just let you say your point. I'm trying
Yeah.
to establish.
Yeah.
A
I need
point
to.
here
I
and
need
then
you to.
answer it.
I need you to answer the question above my head. What is your best evidence that God is real?
I was just about to answer that.
Oh,
if you
perfect.
would-
Fantastic.
Yeah, I got you. I was gonna get back around to Ms.
Okay.
Jessica's question.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out the point that you made about the hypothesis and theory.
Mhm.
And like I said, that's why I asked. We both can agree. Nothing is technically. Nobody bases their life on 100% truth, which is why I believe that there's no way that I can 100%
Thank you,
prove that
Sailor.
God is real. However, going back to what you said about the
Wait, hold on.
the
Why do you believe
majority-
it though? Why do you believe it if you can't 100% prove
I'm
it?
trying to get there. So going back to what you said about how we collect evidence, right? I believe that Jesus is the God, my God of the Bible, the Son of God. His life was documented through manuscripts, through eyewitness testimony.
Eyewitness testimony?
There's more eyewitness testimony manuscripts of Jesus than there is of Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, a lot of these big names that people don't really question the true existence of.
So which
And-
manuscripts are we talking about?
The original
Of
manuscripts were
eyewitness
written.
testimony. Yeah, the original manuscripts of who were the eyewitnesses?
These were Greek and Hebrew individuals that were in the area that he was living in. Not
Yeah.
all of them were even faith.
Who-
Not all of them
who?
were believers in him.
Who? Who were
I mean,
direct
I can't get
eyewitnesses of Jesus?
like
I need
can't
names.
I can't source. Okay, like I can't source you I can't source you like all their names if I'm being honest with you. I mean, you
That's
can
'cause
research
there are
that yourself.
none.
I would encourage you to.
Because we don't have any. Yeah. We
You
don't
said
have
there
any-
are no.
We have
direct
no direct
eye-
eyewitnesses of Jesus. Yeah.
So
no direct
nobody directly saw Jesus. Why do you think that?
because there's no evidence of it. Like we don't even know. Like what? I mean, just tell us
There's
who.
original
Like,
writings.
The original writings of you mean the Gospels?
There's
'Cause
not even the
definitely,
Gospels.
those
bro. I'm
definitely
talking about
aren't. Those
people who
that's
were,
definitely not eyewitness. Well, yeah. Who were direct eyewitnesses? Just give me a name. One name.
Yeah, I just told you I can't give you a
Yeah,
name.
you
I said
caned.
research
Okay.
it.
Well, yeah,
Like,
we
I
don't.
can't give you.
Well,
Just
yeah,
like how you can't
I
give
have
me
researched it.
the
I do,
names
bro.
of
I do
the-
this every day.
Just like how
I
you
have
can't give me the
researched
names
it.
of the ancestors.
I just
Okay,
did
so
give you
did
the
you
name. I
research
did give you the names of
original
the.
ancestors that we came from?
I just did give you the names of the common ancestors.
But that's
I
not
gave you.
100% proven.
I gave you a list.
That's a theory.
We have more evidence of
that's a
that
theory,
than we
though.
do of any quote unquote eyewitness testimony. There are zero eyewitness
Okay,
handwritings
so-
of Jesus. Zero. There are zero.
Okay,
You
so
have
can
none.
I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because it's still a theory. Would you agree that atheism is technically a faith then? Because
Nope.
it can't be 100% proven.
It's not a faith.
How not? If you don't go off
What's the definition of
100%
atheism?
proven.
What's the definition of atheism?
You tell me.
The definition of atheism is it is a lack of belief in gods or gods. So it's not a belief. It can't be a faith and a lack of belief at the same time. That's a contradiction. So
Okay,
it's
so you
it's
think it'll
simply
be
that we are
more-
not convinced. We are not convinced that any
Not
gods
convinced.
exist. Yeah, that's all it is. Now there
So
are
you-
some atheists, like hard atheists or Gnostic atheists, that will say therefore there
I was
are
gonna
no
say that.
gods. Yeah, but I'm an
Yeah.
agnostic atheist. But see, because
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about knowledge and belief, right? So there are some who know, I don't believe in the existence of any gods, and I know there are no gods. I don't
Yeah.
know 100%, but I don't believe that any gods exist because none of the evidence has convinced me. So it's just the same
Okay.
as if you told me that there was a giant spider, like a 10-foot spider in my garage, right? It's the same if you told me that. I wouldn't
Yeah.
out and out say there isn't one. I would just say I don't believe you, Lamb. And then we would,
Yeah.
of course, go to my garage and find out, right? And,
Yeah.
but maybe you would say, oh, no, he was here like 5, maybe he left, but he'll be back.
Yeah.
I would still not believe you. I wouldn't say it's not there. You know what I mean? There is no spider. I would just say,
So
I need to see it. Yes,
just to
to believe it.
understand you more, because I don't want it to turn to like a debate. I just really want
I
to
know.
understand you guys more.
Yeah, I got you. But I just
you-
wanted to push back. It's not faith. Yeah, it's not faith.
Yeah, I just so basically, you believe if there was a more evidence for any God to be, or any spirit or creator, then that would lead you to want to pursue, like, wanting to know more about that creator, God or spirit, and possibly coming into believing in that.
Well, yeah, if there were more evidence, I would believe it more, right? Because evidence also
Evidence.
is something that increases the probability of something being true, right? So, like, back to our spider example, if you told me there's a 10-foot spider in my garage and I didn't believe you. Now, if we didn't see the spider, but let's just say we saw a giant web, right? That looks like only a 10-foot spider could make. That would increase the probability that there's a 10-foot spider in my garage, right? You feel me?
Yeah.
You see where I'm going with that? Yeah. So that would be evidence that a spider is in my garage. I'd be much more concerned that there's a 10-foot spider in my garage. Now, or if, say, we saw another human that was wrapped up in a web, and it's on the giant web. Yeah, that's a really good evidence that there's a 10-foot spider in my garage. And then I would get extremely concerned. I would probably be more inclined to believe you, even though I haven't seen it. And but the other part of this is that the evidence, Lamb, has to match the claim in terms of, if you just tell me there's a little tiny spider in there, I may or may not believe you, but it's not going to really matter, right? But if it's an extraordinary claim like a 10-foot spider, because we don't really see 10-foot spiders in reality, then there would need to be extraordinary evidence, like a giant web, a person caught up in the web, all rolled up and getting eaten, something like that. It would need to be extraordinary. And so if we're talking about a God, we need extraordinary evidence, because you would agree that your God is extraordinary, right?
Yeah, I believe that me and you
There you
talking and breathing is extraordinary evidence.
Okay. Well, see,
If I'm being
I would
honest.
say, yeah, us talking and breathing is pretty extraordinary, but that can be explained by science. It's the autonomic nervous system, that's the lungs, all that stuff. All that can be explained. So how does that demonstrate a God is real if we can already explain it with science?
The fact that science cannot be 100% proven in most cases.
Okay.
Like, for instance, the theory of evolution and stuff.
Got it. Now, let me ask
See
you
what I'm
this
saying?
question. Yeah, let me ask you this question, Lamb. What would happen if your belief, is it that it's true, or that it is more it's less false than other beliefs? That it is true, or that it's less false?
I'm sorry, you cut out
I
in the middle.
think
Can you
that's a
ask it one more
confusing
time?
question.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
let me ask it a different way. That was actually confusing. I don't like the way I asked that question. Let me ask it a different way. Is your belief that what you believe? Is there
Okay.
any chance that you're wrong? Because you did say you can't 100% prove it. So does that mean that is there a possibility that you're wrong? Because it's
Yeah.
possible that we're all wrong about
Yeah, I don't
science.
base
Everything that we
I
know
don't-
about science. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. That's why I don't base my faith off of. I'm not walking in blind faith or brainwashed. I've done research on
Okay.
like certain things. You feel
One
me?
more thing. Are you driving?
I think anybody who just says they're a Christian just because. Nah, I'm in the car. I'm
Okay. You're just in the car, not driving?
in the.
Only because I'm hearing sounds and it sounds like your signal's changing. So I just want to
I'm
be
in the
sure you're not. Yeah, just be sure you're not driving.
Nah, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna be on here too much longer. I like I'm saying, I
Yeah, your signal's going bad. Hey, listen, I'm gonna move on to the
completely
next.
false. You should go get the evidence for yourself.
Yeah,
How-
your signal's like keeps cutting out, Lamb. How about
Yeah,
you
that's
get
cool,
to it?
bro. You have a good one, man.
Yeah, have a good one. All right.
Yeah.
That was Cap. He was driving.
He was definitely driving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Probably drove under a bridge or something.
Lying Christians, man.
They're always in passengers every time he asks.
Oh
No,
yeah, I'm in
the
passenger. Well, come on now.
Right.
Yeah, he's either that. There's a lot of Christians out there who just don't have a driver's license.
Right. I remember, I can't remember whose page it was on. He said he wasn't driving. And then he's like, oh, I'm pulling into the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember whose page. They're like, oh, I thought you weren't driving.
Exactly.
He's like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, my girlfriend's pulling into the driveway. Like, get out of here.
That's Cap. You capping. Come on, man.
Come on.
Come on. Yeah, man. Can't be lying like that. All right. So
Right. And he was making up, oh, there's eyewitnesses. Like, who even told him that?
0
Even when I was
eyewitnesses.
a Christian, I didn't even think there were eyewitnesses. So, like, where did he even get that from? Like,
There's just 0
I don't know.
eyewitnesses. Yeah. There's none. Yeah, exactly. Just Jesus, take the wheel. All right. We'll go CNO Music. How's it going?
What's up? How you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm doing well. How you doing?
I am blessed.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Can I get your age and which pronouns you prefer?
41. I'm a dude.
A dude? Okay. So
Yeah.
which pronouns is that? It's not clear to me.
He, him. I got you. I know you like the
Perfect. Perfect. All right.
fast talking stuff.
All right. Which God do you believe in?
The holy God,
Holy God? Which one is that? Chris,
the
God of
heavenly,
the Bible,
the
Torah,
heavenly God,
Quran?
the God of the King James Version Bible, if you will.
God of the King James Version. Okay. What's your best evidence that God is real?
You know what? I just want to believe. You know,
You want
I
to
just
believe.
want to.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to believe in God.
You want to believe, so therefore you believe. Okay.
I believe, and I always have ever since I was a little kid. Like I
Okay.
really like wouldn't know how to not believe in God.
Okay. But how do you know it's true?
You know, I just have faith.
You have faith.
I feel
Okay.
it. Like I can feel it. Like, and I've heard
Okay.
other people say that too. You know, like they just
Okay.
feel it.
So Hindus feel and have faith, so Hinduism is true?
I would think so. I don't.
You would think so?
I don't like knock anybody else's religions.
Oh, I'm not asking you to knock it. I'm
know.
trying to get at what's true. That's what I want to know. I want to know what's true, right? And so you'd agree Muslims have feelings and have faith, right? But their
Yeah, for sure.
religion, their book says there is no God but Allah, and if you believe in any other gods, you're going to burn forever in the lake of fire. So
I mean, Allah is
so that's
God.
true, right? Right. But are you
Allah-
praying 5 times a
is
day
God.
toward Mecca?
No, that's just their.
Okay. You
Their
got a prayer
tradition.
rug. You have no
No.
prayer rug. You're not praying 5 times a day. You're not abstaining from pork. So you're not a Muslim, all right? So
No, I'm not a Muslim.
you're gonna end up in the lake of
I
fire,
don't
my
even
brother.
consider myself a Christian.
Okay. Is Jesus your personal savior?
I believe that. Yes.
Okay. So then what I'm trying to understand, because every believer in every religion has faith. That doesn't make it true though. It's pretty clear that's obvious. That doesn't mean it's true. So I'm trying to understand from you, how do you know it's true?
Dude, I just know it.
You just know
like I said, it's a feeling. I've always believed, and I just know it.
Okay.
I wouldn't know how to unknow it.
Okay. So it sounds like it's vibes, right?
Like it's what?
The vibes.
A vibe, like VIBES?
Yeah.
I've never heard it.
You
I've
just
never
know it's
heard
true.
it
It's just,
to be said that way as
Okay.
a vibe.
what if you're wrong?
Then it wouldn't hurt to have believed all my life.
Well, if the true God is Allah, oh, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt for eternity.
No, it wouldn't hurt because
Oh, it
I
would
wouldn't
hurt.
have known any better.
You wouldn't have known any better. No, but I mean, I just told you that. See, that's the thing is once you know Once you've been told,
Hmm.
then you have no excuse, according to
So do you believe
Islam.
that Allah is the God?
Nope. No evidence for it.
Oh, well, then what would it matter?
Well, because you were just told, so you have no excuse. Ignorance is not an excuse. No longer an excuse. Even if
But
even if an
if it's
apostate
not
tells
real,
you,
then I wouldn't be ignorant.
right? But if it is real, you're fucked. That's my whole point.
No, I'm not fucked.
Oh yeah,
It's
you're
just,
fucked. If it's
you know.
Allah, and I just told you Allah is the only God, and that all that, yeah, you're fucked, brother.
But Allah is the same God as the Christian God. They just call him Allah.
Not according to the Quran.
I don't think you really know what you're talking about.
You don't think so? Have you read the Quran? Because I have.
It's very close. It's just a different piece.
Yeah. Have you read the Quran?
I haven't read the whole Quran. I
You
haven't read the whole
of it?
Bible.
Yeah, you haven't read the whole. Ah, okay, got it. Okay, so help me understand then. So you don't have any evidence, because that's what we're looking for is evidence.
The only evidence I have is I've always believed, and I've
But
always.
that's not evidence, because
I
there's
can
other
feel
people
his
who've always
presence.
believed. Well, then that would be evidence of Hinduism. That would be evidence of Norse paganism. That would be evidence of Wiccan. That would be evidence of Sikhism and Zoroastrian. I mean, the
I
evidence
don't
you're
know
giving is
anything about all that stuff.
well, yeah, you don't have to know it. I'm just saying the evidence that you're saying that you have is evidence for all of the other beliefs and religions. So you've just
Yeah, but I don't put
if we
my
take-
energy into all of that stuff. I don't have to.
okay, but how does that make it true though?
It's just true to me. It don't have to be true to you. I mean,
Okay.
I came up here just to say that I believe in God because I believe in God. I can't help it.
All right.
I
All right.
wouldn't know any other way.
Okay. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming up. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
All right. So I believe in God because I believe in God, and I just believe it. Okay. Appreciate that.
Right. And then he said he didn't believe in Allah. Okay, but if you're wrong, you're gonna go to the Muslim hell. So maybe
Yeah.
you should go figure it out.
Maybe you should
figure
go-
out which one is the correct one.
Maybe you should go read it. Yeah. Maybe, but
It says these are the people who call us lost. Exactly.
right. Call us lost. All right. TP. TP is up next. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Can I get your age and pronouns, please?
30, and I'm good with he.
All right. And which God do you believe in?
The God of the Bible.
All right. And what's your best evidence that this God is real?
So I'd like to go back to that conversation you were having before with the guy, not the guy just now, but the other one. Towards the end of that conversation, I feel like you guys were in like a pretty good conversation there about the way that I think about it personally, which is the more so. I can't remember exactly how you asked him the question you asked him. You said like, because that other guy got on. I should have wrote it down because I don't remember. But you had said something about belief in one being, because we don't believe in something 100% true, right? Because there's a difference in truth and belief, right? Like,
Yeah.
would you agree with that? Yeah, like there's a truth and belief. I think belief is perspective based, whereas I don't think that truth is perspective based. Would you agree with that too?
Yeah. Truth is objective. Yes.
Yes. And so I feel like, so I can't remember exactly how you asked it, but you said like, do you believe, like, so pretty much comparing his belief in God to say your belief in evolution, it was saying like although you didn't have like 100% truth, I guess you would say, and he wouldn't have, or proof, not truth, but 100% proof, and he wouldn't have 100% proof, but pretty much that you had more grounds on proof for believing in evolution than you did in God.
Yeah.
Does that
Because
make sense?
we have a mountain of evidence that evolution is true versus almost nothing that God is real. If anything, God is real. There's nothing that God is real. Yeah. No evidence. So yeah, it's not even
So
close.
it's interesting because I feel like that's such a better, like, I come across these channels and I honestly just now started hopping on them, and that's because yes, I'm a Christian, yes, believe in God and all these things, but don't typically like to debate because I feel like it's kind of when we start debating like the proof for God's existence to me personally is almost the same thing as me trying to step into the shoes of like an atheist, or me trying to step into the shoes of any other religion. Because at one point in time I was doing that. I did that myself too at like 17 years old, or 19 years old. I did the same thing. Like I didn't believe, I've been raised in church my whole life, but like I didn't believe I had never seen a manifestation of God.
Okay.
Right. And
Well, why do you believe it now?
I mean, and this is not going to be like a proof-based thing for anybody other than myself, which
Just
is
want
when
to
I
hear your
think
reason. Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
what's your
so
best reason?
I was 17 when I walked away from church, and all I'd ever seen was kind of like religion and,
Mhm.
hypocrisy and fake things. And so when I turned 19, I remember working outside, man, at a job, and I was just like questioning, like, what is life? Like, what is this thing called life? Like, just internally questioning.
Mhm.
And I remember in that space, like asking, like, not praying, but just being like, to myself, like, I wonder if God is even real, because I've been taught my whole life he was, but however, I've never seen anything to believe in anything. And I remember just thinking to myself, like, hey, I'll tell you what, if God's real, like, would you show up and show yourself, and if not, then I'm just gonna keep on trucking along, I guess we'll see. That's kind of where I was at, very open.
Okay.
And then things like literally begin to show up, like had wild things. Like I don't know if you're familiar with like prophetic. I'm sure you are, because you hear these things all the time. Especially the other lady, because she says she's from church, so she might know. But had a random woman, did not know her, did not know anything about her, and she didn't know me, nothing. And she walked up and pretty much gave me personally a prophetic word, and she was like, I see these things going on in your life, and you're questioning this. And, it pretty much called me out internally. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Personally, I didn't take that as say, that's God. I took that as that's sus. You know what I mean? I was like, whoa, and this was like probably 2 weeks on the heels of me asking that question.
Okay.
And she had said some things that were going to go on in my life. Long story short, like a year later, I was in another state in a whole different space. And same situation, a guy came up and pretty much prophesied the exact same word for word thing to me personally.
Okay.
So that really got me personal. I'm not saying this for anybody else, but for me personally, it really got me shook up. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go on the hunt to find out if God's real, not so much of a biblical deep dive or anything like that, but really just praying and asking. Praying and asking.
Okay.
So for me personally, if you're just asking me, that's what began to happen. And I watched these things actually come to fruition.
Okay.
So I began to believe before even going into the word.
Okay. So we've had
If that makes sense.
Yeah, we've had
So
in the
I would
Wiccan
say I
religion.
did not get my book.
Well, it sounds like it's a personal experience. So we've had in the Wiccan religion, we've had witches who have cast spells to predict the future, to fortune tell. So does that make Wiccan true? If what they said comes true?
Personally, I 100% believe that. Yeah.
Okay, so the Wiccan religion is
like
true.
Witches and
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't say. Well, I mean, what would that be? That would be that there's something at higher
They
power.
believe in
at
a
play
goddess. Yeah, they believe in a goddess, and they believe in fairies. They think fairies are real. They think that it's a goddess, and so that's true. Okay, and so Hindu gurus have predicted the future. So Hinduism is true.
For them, maybe, yeah. I didn't.
Well,
run
it's not
into
for
that.
them.
You know, I'm not gonna say
Well, I don't want to get into the whole true for you, true for me, true for them, because we began this by saying truth is objective, right? That's what we began this conversation with. So it can't be both objective, where it's universally true for everyone, versus, oh, it's just true for me, true for them. Is it true or not?
Would I say it is truth, or would I say it is belief? Like, because that's what I was
Is it
making
true?
the differentiation.
Yeah. Well, is the Christian God?
Are 100%.
Okay, so is it true that the Christian God is real?
Because we come from the stance of perspective and belief, I'm going to say yes.
Okay, so yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
All right.
So I'm not saying that I agree with not your truth,
So,
my truth. However, I
okay.
believe everything that we're doing is contingent upon belief and perspective.
Okay. So
And that's kind of
it's,
why.
all right. So from what perspective is 2 + 2 not equal to 4?
There's not one.
There's not one. So 2 + 2 = 4 is not dependent upon belief and perspective as being true, right? It's just true. It's objectively true,
Mathematically, yeah.
right?
Yep.
Okay. So that's the type of evidence or truth that I'm looking for. It's objectively true.
No, 100%.
Okay. So is the Christian God, is the statement the Christian God is real, is that objectively true like 2 + 2 = 4? It's just a yes or no.
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
But
So,
that's what I was saying. I was like, I like the nature of the last conversation because I kind of agree with what you were saying and he was saying, which is that like in my shoes, let's just not say my shoes. Let's just say shoes in general. Like, let's say I don't believe in the Christian God. Even prior to this experience for me personally, I would be looking for something that was real and or say objectively true,
okay.
right? Or say like a belief like you're getting at. So what I mean is like when I think about evolution, like I'd put this in the chat earlier, but like when I think about evolution, I say, okay, how much belief, because truth be told, none of us were there, right? So we could look at things today,
Well,
just
I know,
like
but
I
you
could
said
look
it's
at.
objectively true, right? So, yeah, it's so then how do you know it's objectively true?
Are we saying like everything that we're talking about right now though is perspective based?
Okay, but again, we kind of established this because you said 2 + 2 = 4 is true regardless of perspective, right? And then I asked you, is the statement God is real objectively true like 2 + 2 = 4? And you said yes. So that means that the statement the Christian God is real is true regardless of perspective, right?
And then I followed that by saying I would not say that for everybody. And the reason why I'm saying
I'm
that is because
I'm not
I
saying
believe
you're
it's
saying that for everybody because you would
Well,
agree
we are
if
when we say
everyone
objective.
thinks, well, hold on, if everybody believes that 2 + 2 = 5, that doesn't make 2 + 2 = 5 true, right? So it doesn't
I
matter what everyone
understand
believes
I
or what their
understand what
perspective
you're
is.
saying.
2 + 2 = 4 is just objectively true.
I understand what you're saying. Like I
Okay.
totally understand what you're
So
saying.
I'm
So I was saying
trying
I
to, so
like
what
the
I'm trying to get
nature
out of you
of-
is the statement the Christian God is real. That statement, is that objectively
I
true?
answer yes. You say show me the evidence. Correct.
Well, I'm just trying to understand from
I
you
answer.
because you're kind of all over the place. So
yes.
okay.
That's what I'm saying. I like the conversation style you guys had at the end because I believe that's where most of us are at. Like there's not one person. Like here's what I mean by that. It's like I don't know the scientist who wrote the thing of evolution, true or false. Like we don't know
Well,
that.
it's not one scientist. It's a whole. It's like a large group of scientists, very very large group of
100%.
scientists
But we could
across
say the
many
same thing
different
for
disciplines.
Hinduism. We could say the same thing for Hinduism. Like across many people, across many theologians, across many mystics, we could say the same thing. We could say the same thing
Okay.
for Christian. We could say the same thing for witch. We could say
Okay.
the same thing for all of these things, right?
All right.
So realistically, the only thing that separates truth, like 100% truth, is none of us actually know that. None of us. And I think if we could all meet right there for a
Okay.
second, like
I'm
atheist, Christian, Hinduist,
I'm not understanding
all
the
of us
relevance
could meet
here.
there.
Yeah. Because see, here's the
I
thing.
like the
Well,
nature of his conversation.
okay. Well, here's the thing, TP. I'm looking for evidence. I'm not looking for I'm not saying is it true. I'm asking for evidence, right? And evidence is something that increases the probability of something being true. Like I think you heard me go through that with the last guy, right? With the guy before.
When he said yes.
Yeah. So like we were talking about
That's
the 10-foot spider and what would increase the probability of a 10-foot spider being real, right? We kind of went over that. You remember that, or were you there for that? Did you hear that?
No, I was here for sure.
You were here for that. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to understand. Yeah. So that's where I'm getting at. I'm just looking for, because we only really have time to look at one piece of evidence. You know, we got like 30 minutes. So we spent 13 minutes like trying to parse out like this perspective thing and all that. All I want to know from you is, what evidence do you have that tells you that the Christian God is real, objectively real? That's all I want to know.
That would be the testimony I just gave.
The testimony you just
But that's
gave.
not-
Okay, so if that's the testimony, and we have the same exact testimony from other beliefs and other religions, how does that make it objectively true?
That's what I was saying. It would be a perspective. That's what I guess that's where I'm getting at. Is like, I don't understand why. From a conversational standpoint, like you guys are having a conversation, like, I'm not on here to say, hey, believe this or don't believe this.
That's not what I'm
just
saying. I only just want from you why you think it's objectively true and your evidence, and you said it's your testimony, right? And I'm trying, what I'm trying to understand, because see, I'm trying to be convinced, all right? And I'm trying to help you with that. I'm trying to be convinced. I really am.
Okay, so if you're trying to be convinced, then go with me in this thought process of where I was just trying to head at. It's like,
okay. So
this
then
is what I'm saying, like, because
if these things are true, then why do believers in other religions have the same experiences, and for them it proves to them that their gods are real? That's what I'm trying to get out of you. And I'm not hearing, like, we just keep like flashing right past that. So why is that? If it's objectively true for you, but then why does it make it objectively true for a Hindu when they have the same exact experience as you do? Because we can point to those.
But I think you're giving the answer in what you're saying. You're saying if it's objectively true for you, right? Like, so it's just objectively.
Well,
true
it can't be
for
objectively
a
true
Hindu.
for somebody else. It's either true or it's not true, because truth is just objective. That's it, right? Just like 2 + 2 = 4. But see, the thing is that this is. I'm telling you that there's an equation that we're talking about, right? There's a math equation.
No, I
and there's
hear everything you're saying.
Yeah,
That's
and there's
what
a
I
different
understand what
answer,
you're saying.
and you're telling me, well, my answer makes it objectively true. My answer
No,
is
it doesn't.
6.
That's not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying.
Okay, so if the answer is the Christian God is real, I just got to ask it again because we're just getting off track. TP, is that answer objectively true?
I just answered that like 3 times. I'm
Right, I
yes.
know, but we keep
Yes,
going off of that and then saying, well, I'm not talking about objective truth. No, it is truth. Objective truth is redundant. It's just truth. Okay. So when you're saying it's because of my personal experience, I know it's objectively true. So again, I'm asking you, if someone else in another religion, a Hindu, has the same exact experience that you have, and it's been documented, people have come up to them, gurus have made predictions, and the predictions have come true. Does that mean that Hinduism is true?
That means one of us is right.
Okay, so which of you is right?
But that's where I want to get, right? That's what I've been trying to say. That's what I understand everything you're asking. But that's where I was trying to get. If I'm trying to persuade, if I'm not, which I'm not trying to, but if I'm trying to think in terms of
I'm
where
trying to be
you're
persuaded. Yeah,
so
may
if
not
I'm
be
trying to
trying,
think
but
in
I'm
terms of
trying
where-
to be persuaded.
if I'm trying to think in terms of where you're
And
at,
brother, I got to be honest, you're fighting this. Like,
I'm not.
if I'm
fighting
trying to be
anything,
persuaded,
bro. If I could just
you are
get to my-
you are
keep asking me the same
sabotaging
thing over
this.
and over. But if you would just let me get to what I'm trying
Well,
to
because
ask
it's
you,
just
which is where you're at
confusing.
with
That's
the
what I'm
other guy.
saying. Because you
It's
keep
nothing
saying it's
confusing.
objectively
Only
true,
one of us is
and then you
right.
turn around and say, "But I'm not talking about objective truth." You keep
Only one of us
waffling.
is right.
Yeah, you keep waffling. I don't know if it's because you don't want to offend people, which is cool. That's fine. But I just need you to be clear. That's all. Because it just goes back
Okay.
and forth. All right. That's all I need from you. That's all right.
Yeah. So yes, then I would say to answer that question, I would say only one of us is right.
Okay.
And so, and that might be you, it might be them, it might be me, and
You
that's what I
think
was
it's
talking
you,
about. That's
though,
me,
right? Mhm.
Based on my experience, yes.
Okay.
But that's and you would say the same thing based off of where you're at, and the Hindu would say the same thing based off of where you're at.
Yeah.
where they're at.
Well,
Correct?
I would
That's
say
what we're
I
saying.
don't believe in any gods because there's not enough evidence. The evidence isn't
Well, you do
sufficient. And
believe
this
in
is
something, whether
I
that's
believe in
science.
things. I believe in things with evidence. Yes.
So that would be like I heard you talk to the other guy, like science.
Yeah, because science has demonstrated again and again that it's
Right. And so that's what I was saying. Like we could all meet there and say that you believe what you believe is true because of maybe an experience, the Hindu guy, I believe because of an experience, and then say you believe because of science. And I'm sure there's tons of people in all of these different pools. And I guess that's what I meant by just a conversation about it is like when I try to step into the shoes, and I have, like I said many times, to understand from a science perspective, I feel like it's not really requiring more belief and or trust in science than it is a God. And that's where I guess in myself that it does, because I wasn't there. Like Christians, I hear Christians all the time go back to what in the beginning and anatomy and all these different things and geology and all these different things. But I think about it, I'm like, but none of us were there. Right, because that's where the most argument lie. I don't think people admit that, but no one's going to say none of us were there.
okay.
And then same thing on the science side of things. Like I hear many people debate it from an atheist standpoint of today, and I've heard people say it like through change doesn't change, and the universe
Can I
always
stop you
works.
right there? Sorry, I got to stop you right there. Only because I want to ask you about something you just said, because you said, well, none of us were there, right? So does that mean, because like for almost all Schmurder investigations, the police aren't there to see it. Nobody's there to witness it, right? So does that mean we should let all Schmurderers go because none of us were there to see it?
No, but I think when you critically have to prove that this happened, right? And
Okay.
that's why people are atheists. And that's, you see what I'm saying? That's why people
you need
are
faith to
atheists.
believe science. Okay, so then if we're using evidence to put
help me understand
Schmurderers
that.
away, right? If we're using evidence for that, and we can reasonably determine whether or not they committed the crime, right? We don't need 100% verification for something to be true, right? You don't need that. You can say it's reasonably true. We have more evidence than not. But I would say that we are 99.999999% certain that evolution is true. Yeah, it's not 100%, but we are really fucking sure it's true. Like scientists are. Yeah, they are.
How is that?
Because we have evidence across all the major scientific disciplines. We've got it in geology, we've got it in microbiology, in chemistry, in physiology, in paleontology, in archaeology. I mean, all in psychology, neuroscience, like all across every scientific discipline, every single one, there's evidence of evolution. So it's like when you see it over and over and over again, it pretty much tells you this is real. Okay. Now, does it mean that it's a 100% like, no, because it's still a theory. And what that means is that it is based on the evidence that we see, everything that we have, this is true. Could something come out tomorrow and debunk all of that? Well, it'd take a lot more than a something. It would be a lot, but they could discover something at some point that would throw it all up in the air. They could, but they still haven't, and they still keep trying to. That's the whole point, TP. They keep trying to disprove this. That's the one thing that people don't understand about scientists is they are trying to disprove themselves and others. And it's because that's how you make discoveries. That's how you get at the truth. And so it could all be wrong. It'd all be different tomorrow, but then we'd have evidence for the next thing, whatever that would be. If evolution isn't true.
Can I just give you an example, like layman's terms of like how in my world, I guess, and this is just me personally, how like it does in my world, it does require some form of faith. And I'm just going to give a layman's term example, and you could say it's bogus or whatever. But there's a Netflix documentary about dinosaurs, and I know this sounds super simple, but I think it's Morgan Freeman who's narrating the entire thing.
Probably,
and he says
that tracks. Yeah, it's probably Morgan Freeman. Yeah.
Okay. So they're going over like the historic animals is what they're going over, and I'm watching it, intently, and they're going over, and he's talking about, I think it was the reptiles. The beginning was the reptiles, and they're going over, what was happening on the earth and all these different things. And there's the reptiles, and then there's this one animal that he's talking about, and he's like, and this one's going to be very important. X, Y, and Z. Long story short, it's a little bird, and he says, well, it's not a bird, but he says, and this animal doesn't know how important it is yet because it is the first dinosaur. And I stop the Netflix thing. I'm just talking from a place of logic and logic. That makes zero sense to me.
Why?
How we were reptiles, because where would the bird just form? Like it just popped out of an egg, and there were no egg. Like there were no.
It evolved
by itself from the ground, or
it evolved.
How did that happen?
Yeah. So like for example,
but there was nothing for it to evolve from.
Yeah. It evolved from the previous ancestor it is. So like, for example, it's just the same as like when you have, here's a very bad, well, it kind of works in this analogy. It's like if you have, if you've got a whole bunch of chicken eggs, right? And they're about to hatch, right? And you've got a whole bunch of, and all the time you've been hatching all these eggs. Let's just say you hatch chicken eggs for a living, right? And so you see thousands and thousands of chicken eggs hatch all the time. You got a big chicken farm. And for years and years and years, you've seen yellow chicks hatch, right? They always started yellow. But then you see one that's black. It's like that. It's called a mutation. It's a genetic mutation, right? Because our cells mutate. And not only that, our cells mutate, but when reproductive cells get together, sometimes they mutate and they form something a little different. And that's what they meant by this bird or this creature being like the first one. What more likely happened, it was a group of them, because it usually happens in groups. It's not just one organism that evolves. It's a group of them, and if they survive, there has to be a group of them, because those organisms have to procreate with each other. You feel me? So it couldn't be just one and then all the other dinosaurs evolved from this one. Couldn't be, because it had to be a group of them, because if it was just one, there's no way it would procreate and then turn into more. So
from your understanding, you would say, like earlier, you were giving the example of like apes, and so from your understanding, you would say that all right, just so I understand, long ago, right, there were a form of ape, and something mutated, and then it started, a different line, and then there was a mutation and another line and a mutation and another line, and then somewhere we came out with a human being.
Yeah,
and then there was
But and we're talking over millions of years too, not just It wasn't just like 5 months. It's millions and millions of years, long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you get to the species that we're in. So in order to continue that belief, right, at some point in time, humans should mutate and then evolve in that.
Probably. Probably. It's
Well,
only
we would
been
have to
300.
continue.
It's only been 300,000 years. Yeah, and actually, we already are evolving. We already
It
are.
wouldn't be million. 300,000 years for humans.
Yeah, we've only been here for 300,000 years, so we already are evolving.
But there is a start somewhere to that, and they think that they could track that down in time. Pretty much, is like, hey, we went back and seen
Exactly, Yazi. Yeah.
Okay, so that we went back
because we're getting taller. Yeah, because the earliest humans were much shorter than we are now, and we have things like, now we see humans today that are being born without wisdom teeth. There's that. That's another example of us evolving. So yeah, we're evolving.
Okay. Yeah, cool, man. Like I said, I wasn't trying on the beginning part of the call. I wasn't trying to get into all these things. I was just, and I wasn't trying to go over, because I understand what you mean. Like people, I think, I understand the need. Sorry
to interrupt. Angel Rose, are you happy to know that your daughter is an evolved species? I'm just playing. No, somebody had said her daughter was born without
Oh,
wisdom
gotcha.
teeth. So I would say, no, you have an evolved speech,
Oh,
evolved human.
okay.
All right. So,
Yeah.
so go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No,
I
no,
just had
I
to
was
say
just
that.
saying in the beginning, like I wasn't trying to get, I think you're right.
Oh, I know.
I think my thing with these conversations is
Yeah,
like
you're just here to have a
being
conversation.
more
That's all
based
good.
around the fact that we are all kind of believing in some sort. Even yes, there's proof here, and there's going to be tons of Christians that say there's proof here, and tons of Hindus that say there's proof here. When in reality, we're all just here. And so I think sometimes debating, the existence of God or in I guess past, to me, that didn't work for me either. I'm not going to sit around here and say that it would. I don't care what you said. When I was 17, 18 years old, I just didn't believe. Just because there was no, people are like, oh, God heals. I never seen anything like that. So
Yeah.
I would not push that on someone because you never experienced it. I don't believe that anyone should believe in God outside of experience. And I believe that
Okay.
personally.
Well, I think though that, well, here's the thing, because there's a lot of people who haven't had an experience like me,
100%.
like Reckless, like
100%.
Jessica, right? We thought we had experience. Like I thought I had an experience.
So are you
And-
guys from Christianity?
I am. I was a Christian for over 30 years. Probably between the three of us, we're probably, you probably got 100 years between the three of us, maybe 80, 90.
Okay.
So,
I don't want to take up
long
anybody's
time.
time, but I would love to hear the stories. But that's fine.
Okay. Well, maybe another day, but yeah, I mean, well,
Yeah,
come
maybe
back on
another day.
another day when I'm doing a deconstruction live, because then you'll hear all kinds of stories.
cool.
Yeah.
I'll
kinds of
follow
stories.
you there, and then we
All
get
right.
into that. And yeah, that'd be cool, man.
All right. Well, hey, you know what, TP? Thank you for the nice chat. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm all good for nice conversation. I'm not here to necessarily debate. I match energy. So if people want to have a conversation, I'm good with having a conversation. But like I said, I'm here to be convinced. So I will ask you, why do you believe it? Because
100%.
maybe you got something that I don't know, that I've never heard before, and that'd be interesting to think about.
Right.
Feel me?
Yeah.
All right.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate
man.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day, TP. Thanks for the chat. Appreciate you. So, all right. Well, now I see where he was kind of going. But yeah, I mean, I think that tracks. I mean, yeah, I think that's the other thing is these Netflix shows, because yeah, there's creative license in there, right? So they're, of course, they're going to show one, but it's more likely if that one dinosaur that he was talking about, if it evolved and then it survived the family tree and then it evolved into other dinosaurs, well, then it had to be more than one that survived, right? That evolved. Had to be a bunch of them. So then they could mate and make more. So that's how it works. But yeah, we've seen evolution all over the place. I'm like, humans are evolving now. Yeah, we're taller, and things like no wisdom teeth, things like that. Bigger brains, things like that.
Man, I wish I had big brains and no wisdom teeth. I'd live the best life.
Me too. Me too. Yeah, my brain's small. So that's why I got to ask questions, because it doesn't track. Danny J, thank you. But yeah, it doesn't track. So I got to ask a lot of questions. It's just got to make sense. All right. So let's go to the next. Agape Mac. I know you've been waiting a while, so we'll go to you. I think you might have been up earlier, but maybe not. How's it going?
Hey, what's up, man?
Doing well. Thanks for waiting.
Yeah, no problem. I enjoy listening to you
Yeah.
talk to some of those other Christians. So
Yeah, okay. Can I get your age and pronouns?
I'm 39 and I'm a male.
Male, okay. And which, as a
Yeah.
male, which pronouns? Because we have some males that like they, them,
Got
she,
you.
they.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
which
well,
pronouns do you prefer?
I prefer the he and the him, and
Okay.
yeah.
Very good. All right. And agape. So you're a believer in the God of the Bible?
Yes, I believe in the God
Gotcha.
in the Bible.
Okay. What's your best evidence that this God is real?
So I believe that the best evidence that God is real is like in the scripture. I mean, you said something interesting. You said you were a Christian for 3 decades. So at some point that was something you understood. It was something that you subscribed to, something you trusted. So, I mean, for 3 decades, you got to know that the scripture is is the absolute authority of the whole thing.
How do we know
And then
that?
if we throw that, well, that's how all of Christianity is framed. The faith and
Yeah,
the
it's
belief.
framed, but
Yeah,
you would agree that like the Quran is the authority for Islam, and they will say it even has authority over you. So
right.
how do we know that? So
that's a
when you
totally
say it's
different
authority,
religion.
how do you know that's true? Like, what's your evidence that that's true?
Well, I would say the scriptures themselves, like if a person is a Muslim, then yes, for them it makes sense that they say that the Quran. But you were asking about like evidence and proof and all of that's in the scripture. So I'm like that you have to. I don't think the scriptures are written to an audience that isn't able to at least assume God exists. Like, I don't think the Bible was written and constructed and presented in a way where it's trying to disprove people who aren't able to believe in the notion of a God. I think it's
Yeah.
written to people who have the capacity to at least wrap their mind around the basic things like creation, creator, human beings, God having personhood and stamping personhood on people, and like people that are able to read into those things, look into those things, examine those things and see if they make sense to them. Like, but it all goes back to the scripture being authoritative, and then belief comes, and then faith comes, and so on and so forth.
But again, you haven't really told me why it's authoritative. Like, what makes it authoritative?
Well, because it's God. I mean, the scriptures, if it's inspired by it says the Bible or the word of God does not originate from man, right? It's not coming from man's imagination or man's perspective on truth. It is actually flowing from a self-existing God. Like that's where Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 starts.
Okay, so if I heard you right, let me just kind of summarize what you said up to this point, because I asked you what your evidence you have that God is real, and you said because of the Bible, right?
Yeah, scriptures.
Yeah, because of the Bible is authoritative. And I asked you, how do you know it's authoritative? It's because you said it comes from God.
Right.
Okay, so you know God is real because of the Bible, and you know the Bible is real because it comes from God. So that's a circular argument.
Well, it's all leading back to belief, which is kind of, I think, what the guy was saying earlier. Like, you have belief on both sides, right? There begins to be, for the person who believes, a preference for the things that are in the Bible, right? For reasons maybe they can't explain. One guy was trying to explain, he couldn't. And then on the other side, you have a preference for evolution and for science and for looking at the law of physics. At some point, it becomes preference. Like you said it earlier, it's not the point that this person has a complete definitive breakdown that explains everything. No, it becomes what this person prefers to subscribe to and use as an authority in their life. Although they don't have
But how do you know it's an authority? Because an authority, using something as an authority is different than that thing being an authority, right?
Well, I think morality, so I'll use for human beings, right? So we can't prove that the Bible is the origin of like the concept of morality and evil and good. But we can prove that there is evil and good, and that we do have an inherent sense of what is morally good and right, whether we subscribe to God or not.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
so when the Bible
we can
speaks
explain
to
all
that
that.
reality,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead and finish what you're saying.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, so when the Bible speaks to that reality, that would be like, for me, a person who's examining it and investigating it, that would be one piece that I would try to examine and say, well, how true is this? How legitimate is this in the lives of people in the world? Right? Because this is a God that say he's creating everything. The idea of righteousness comes from him, all that. I have to establish that. And then I have to wrap my mind around the fact that consciousness and life and all that pre-exists the material world. I got to wrap my mind around that, just at Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, because of what's implied. So I'm telling you, it's belief. And then any person that's going to get into the sciences or whatever else, or a different religion, yeah, they have to get engaged in some information. They have to do some investigations, but ultimately they're preferring one piece of information, and maybe they'll say it's transformative. Maybe they'll say it changed their life. But that doesn't, like you established earlier, that doesn't determine whether something's true. It just now becomes this person's claim based on their experience. The thing that makes it true is the validity of the information. Now, the
validity
Bible
of
does
information.
present,
Okay.
Yeah.
So
the Bible,
hold on. You're
Okay,
I got to stop
go
you right there. Yeah, it's a lot to unpack. So I just got to stop you right there. So If you're saying it's the validity of the information that makes the Bible true, what's an example of valid information that makes the Bible true? Just give us an example.
All right, so the human conscience, I would say, was one example, right? Humans being
Human conscience? Well,
yeah,
wait,
like
how does that
having,
relate to the Bible? Because it's not mentioned in the Bible.
well,
You mean conscience, like how we know right from
yeah,
wrong, or
yeah.
conscious, like we're awake, like brains,
Our
brain state?
our conscience, our
Okay.
minds,
Like how we
yeah,
know right from wrong. Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry, I misunderstood. Okay, so conscience. So how we make moral decisions.
Or how we determine what a moral decision even is, right? Like that is either
Okay.
something that has to be taught or something. But the fact that we have a conscience, I
Okay.
believe is an evidence of God, right? Because God judges based on what's morally good and what's
Okay.
morally wrong.
How do we know then that because we have a conscience that demonstrates the Bible is true?
I believe the Bible points to what's evil. It points to what is sin. It points to that men having a sin nature. And I believe that Bible describes in very good detail how evil and sin shows up in people and in the world. And then so I
Okay.
can make that connection directly from the Bible. I wouldn't have to go to science. I wouldn't have to go to a Muslim. Like that's what I mean when I say the Bible's my authority. That's what I'm examining. That's what I'm testing. I'm looking out at the world. I'm looking within. I'm looking at other people because that's what the Bible's dealing with. The
Okay.
world, life, creation, people, and belief.
And
Can
so
I
I'll
have or ask a question?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Do you think people weaponize the Bible?
absolutely.
Okay.
I believe
glad you
people
agree with that.
weaponize I didn't mean to cut you off, but I believe it's not just the Bible. I think anybody can use information intentionally and maliciously to try to harm somebody.
Okay.
Like I don't think that you don't only see that in Christianity. You
Okay.
see that everywhere.
Well, how is any of this okay? So if it describes things, because other holy books describe evil and good as well, so then that would
Right.
make those as well true. Like Hindu, like I've been
Not
saying this all
necessarily.
day. Okay, well, if it's not necessarily, then that would also apply for the Bible. It doesn't necessarily make the Bible true. And you gave that as an example as an example of, well, this was what makes the Bible true. So why is it
I'm saying
different?
they don't necessarily have the same origin. I'm not saying that they're not necessarily touching on the same things,
Okay.
and then you don't find truth
Well,
in
how
both.
do you
I'm
know
saying
the
they don't
origin of the Bible? Because now we're shifting a little bit. So now you're talking about origin. So how do you know
Yes.
the origin? How do you know the origin of the Bible?
The Bible gives you the origin of the Bible.
It tells you the origin. Okay. So
Right.
again, this is circular because you're saying I know the origin of the Bible because it says so. But how do you know what it says is true?
Well, the examples that I'm giving you, I'm thinking that the creation, right, like the world and people reflect a creator. Now, I think that we don't all
How?
interpret.
Wh-
Well,
Just
because
give example. Yeah, one example.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say is like the mind, right? So we know that that the human mind is very complex. I don't think science fully understands the human mind, but we know enough
Yeah,
about the
but
human mind.
they know a lot about it. They don't 100% understand it, but they know a lot about it.
So we can find a lot of similarities between the human mind and the mind of God. All right, I can make those the way that God describes
Well,
himself in terms of the way that he thinks, how he chooses, what he determines is this. We see those similarities even in atheists. I'm not saying people that just
Okay.
read the Bible. I'm just trying to say as an inherent quality
okay, let me
of,
ask
of
then.
human beings.
Okay, let me
Yeah.
ask then. So how do we know, because you said we see similarities in our minds and the mind of God, how do we
Mhm.
know that it isn't because we just made up this mind of God and based it on our own minds?
How do we know that this isn't something we just made up and like imagined on our own?
Yeah, and
Well, because
based it
the
on our
Bible-
own mind, used our own minds as inspiration, and we just came up with this concept of God's mind. How do we know that it's that and it's actually God's mind?
I mean, well, for the religious person in general, they have to actually believe that their God is who
Sure,
he says
I
he
agree
is.
with
Like,
you,
at the very
100%.
onset, like before
But
you get
I'm
into
trying
all
to get
those
at
things.
what's
So,
true, though, right? I'm
Yeah.
trying to get at what's true. So I hear you that they have to believe it, but that doesn't mean it's true. So what makes it true?
well, the thing that makes it true is the person who's claiming it. But the issue with the Bible or Christianity in general is that
Wait,
the
hold
person
on.
who is
Sorry.
claiming
Got to stop you there.
God
What does
himself,
that
right?
mean?
I believe in
You
that.
said the
like
person who's
scriptures-
claiming it makes it true. What does that mean?
Well, because what God is saying about himself is that he is not a creature, he's not a man, and he cannot lie. So that assumes everything that he says is absolutely true, whether
Well,
it
yeah,
can be
it's an
seen or not.
assumption, but how do we
Yeah.
verify that that's true?
Well, you will look for those truths. You're going to look for those truths like in the world, like in your life. You're going to look to see if these are things that just some man thousands of years ago imagined, have been telling people, and it's been
Okay.
passed down through time.
So
And there's no evidence that these things are true, but they just were imagined, and people have just been upholding them for for who knows why. But our concept of God, right? Our concept of like redemptive history in Christ and everything that we see, in terms of the gospel, like when the gospel comes, Christians, their whole belief, their whole hope, like for life, like even beyond this like world, it stands or falls on their belief in the gospel. Like that's
I
what
hear
ultimately
that.
comes.
I
Yeah.
agree with you.
So
It does stand or fall, but I'm trying to get out of you because you haven't really told me what makes the belief true. You're just saying, well, they have to believe it, and it's based on what people are telling, what people are saying. You know, Christians are basing it on this, but that doesn't mean any of that's true, because you could say that about every religion, right? Muslims, you can say
proving
the same
something
thing.
also doesn't
Hindus,
make
you
it
can say
true.
the same thing. You can say the same
Yeah.
thing. And
So let me ask you
proving it doesn't make it true. I would disagree with that vehemently.
Well,
if you prove it, it's true.
Well, let me try to reword it. Like, if it's true, then, for instance, you brought up like being in a courtroom, right, and catching somebody that had done a violent crime, right, and they go and there's evidence, and there's no witnesses. So if there's no witnesses, nobody comes forth, nobody's seen it, there's no evidence. It doesn't mean that that event didn't happen, that there is not some mysterious person out there that did it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to be able to prove that that happened. You just have the dead body. So my thing about it is we have all of the clues and all the signs and all the wonders that God speaks of in the Bible, and the people are saying, well,
Darren and Karen Shrimpton just subscribed. Thank you for subscribing. Okay.
You're saying, okay, well, we didn't see, we're not there to put two and two together, but we're seeing these things, so now we're interpreting
Yeah,
these
but
things
we don't have
differently.
to be there in order for there to be evidence. And I'm, like I said, I'm just asking for a piece of evidence. And
Well, I'm telling you that I think the scriptures are the greatest evidence,
Okay,
and
then
and I
if they're
know,
the
and there's a reason why I
evidence,
brought up you
well,
being
see-
a believer for 3 decades, because I find it hard to believe that you could have read the Bible as many times as you did. You could have actually been a legitimate and sincere believer to the degree which you at
then
least convinced
that would
me you
make
were.
that would make the Bhagavad Gita, the Vedas, and the Upanishads proof that Hinduism is true, and we should all be Hindu.
Well, no real
Okay, then
sincere
what's the
Christian would ever
symmetry
say
breaker?
that.
What's the symmetry breaker then?
Well, because that violates again the claim that scripture makes in the
I
beginning.
know that
and
doesn't make it
actually
true.
makes-
It violates
Huh?
the claim. What I'm trying to get from you is, because Hindus will say the same thing. Our holy books make it true. You're
Right.
saying my Bible makes it true. How am I as an outsider supposed to know which one of you are saying the real claim?
Well, you would have to investigate yourself, right? I mean, that's
have.
what the Bible says, right?
I've read
Study
the
to show yourself
Upanishads, I've read
approved.
the Vedas, I've read the Bhagavad Gita, I've read the Bible, I've read the Quran, I've read the Tao
All
Te
right, so
Ching.
what's
none
your
of them are
greatest
true.
argument for the Bible actually not being valid, based on what it
The
claims?
greatest argument?
Yeah.
Jesus is a fraud and a liar.
Wow. What
He made promises that he couldn't possibly keep, and that didn't come true.
Which one?
For one thing, we just went over this earlier. Is John 14 verses 12 through 14 true? This is what Jesus said. These are Jesus's words. Is it
Can you
true?
pull it up? I can't see
Yeah,
it.
I can pull it up. So, is this true? Very truly, I tell you, the ones who believe in me will also do the works that I do, and in fact will do greater works than these, because I am going to the Father. I will do whatever you ask in my name, so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If in my name you ask me for anything, I will do it. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
That's true? Okay.
Now I believe.
Why are there hospitals
that's
then?
true.
You believe
Huh?
that's true, but I asked you, is it true? Like, you can believe 2 + 2 equals 5 is true, but that doesn't mean it is true, right? You can likewise believe 2 + 2 = 4, and but that doesn't necessarily mean it's true. I'm asking you, is it true?
Yes, if this is God that is speaking, and if this is the Son of God that is speaking, it is true.
It is true. Okay.
It is
so
true.
then we should be able to prove this then.
No,
So
that was why I used the example earlier. There are things that happen in life that are true
Then you
all
can-
the time that we're not able to prove. Even science knows there are new things.
okay,
they
then how do
discover
we know this
anew.
is true? How do we know it's true if you can't prove it?
But our knowledge of truth doesn't establish truth. Truth is established itself. When we discover it, then we are able to confirm it and to
Okay.
affirm it. But that doesn't make it true. I mean,
So
we're not making
doesn't
it
make
true.
it true. It
No,
doesn't make it true.
is true. But I'm telling you that we are not approving what is true and what is not, like, for truth. Like,
Okay.
truth is saying, hey, I am truth. You're looking at me and saying, okay, yeah, we connected this. And you can either agree it's true or not true. Like, a person could look at 2 + 2 and say, well, that's not 4, because I don't believe in the law of physics. I add things differently.
Okay.
Then they
Would they
then they
be
completely
would they be
dismiss
right?
the authority of
Would they be right or wrong, agape? If
Well,
if somebody
based
told you
upon
agape,
how I
okay, hold on. If somebody told you
do
agape,
math.
yeah, and just say, if they said to you agape, 2 + 2 = 5, are they telling you the truth?
Based on how I do mathematics, no, because I agree with some
Okay.
things in
In
the
what
law
way
in
then?
science. Huh?
In what way could you do math in which 2 + 2 = 5?
I mean, people do math wrong all the time.
Okay, but I just need to hear from you. How could you do math in which to make 2 + 2 = 5? How would that work? Because you're saying just the way I do math. I'm thinking it's the way everybody does math.
Yeah, everyone. Yes,
Like, it's
exactly, 'cause
universally true.
There's an
Yeah.
established way that points to yes. So
Right.
what I'm trying to say
So
is,
are you
with
saying then
God,
that it's another way that you could do math in which 2 + 2 would equal 5?
no, that's not what I was implying.
Okay,
What I
so
was implying is that somebody can look at something and say, "Hey, that's not how I do the math, or that's not how I calculate things." Like
okay,
that's essentially what religion is. You have a person that's saying, "Hey, I don't look at spirituality that way, or I don't look at righteousness that way, or I don't
Yeah.
look at this that way."
I'm asking if it's objectively true. That's what I'm asking. And I can't believe
But
I
now
have to say
objective
objectively
truth-
true. Yeah, and the reason why, because technically that's a redundant term, because truth is truth. It's either true
It
or it's
is.
not true. It's not subjective, because subjective truth would be opinion, right? So objective truth is a redundant term, but I have to say it like that. So I'm like crystal clear on what I'm talking about, right? So I'm not talking about opinion. I'm talking
Mhm.
about this is universally true. Like
Right.
1 + 1 = 2 true. Like there's,
Well, according
because you
to
keep
some
saying it's according to
scientists and
math,
some-
it could be different,
Well-
but how?
Well, there's according to some scholars and even some scientists, a literal Jesus is Christ and a literal resurrection is true, right? You can't go all through the sciences and get a total unanimous decision that this is.
I'm not
we
asking for a
found
unanimous
nothing.
decision. I'm just asking for evidence. And I think that's what
Well, my
that's what
point
I'm
about it
trying to go
is
on.
the answer, the hypothesis is it's not always going to come out the same based on what everybody can be looking at 2 + 2 and still, in this sense, still come up with something else and say, well, this is what I feel is true, or this is what I believe is true.
How?
Because they're not all perceiving everything the same way. They're not all in their mind processing it the same way. They don't feel the same way about it in
Okay,
their
I
heart.
got you.
Ultimately,
I
the
got
choice
you.
that they're going to make is going to
Yeah.
be based on what they believe connects most with them. God
and
is
you would
saying
agree that
people-
perception can be wrong, right?
Absolutely, but that's the
Okay.
same on both sides.
Okay, so perception can be wrong, right? And if you're telling me that 1 + 1 = 2 is based on it's true based on perception, what other perception could there be? Well, that's just what you told me, is that it's perception. Like
Well,
somebody
I
else
agree
could
with-
say
I
it,
agree
but
with
there's
what you
but
just
there
said
is but
earlier when
you
you
have to
said
agree
truth
that
is
right
true.
truth is truth. Either it's true
I agree
or
with
it's
you on
not
that
true,
point.
right?
So whatever that says, that's what I agree with. I believe
Okay.
truth is truth. Like when Jesus says, "I am the truth," I believe that.
Okay.
And I also believe
It's
truth
not
is
it's
truth.
okay, so this verse up here, is this verse as true as 1 + 1 = 2?
If Jesus is the truth, then yes, it is.
Yeah.
If he says, "If you ask me for eternal life, I will give it to you," that is true.
Okay, so then we should be able to demonstrate this, right?
You should be able to demonstrate that you
Yeah,
have
like just
eternal
like we
life.
can just like that this verse is true right above my head. We should be able to prove this.
I mean, a person has the right to ask someone to try to prove, which is what you're doing, but because we are limited, and especially because history is not something that's repeatable like science, you can't examine it under a telescope in the same way that you would use the scientific method. You can't do that with history.
Well, the thing is, at Agape, I was a 10-year believer, and I prayed for my mental health to get better for 10 years. And it got worse and worse and worse. And people would tell me to pray more, read the Bible more, all of this stuff. And this verse says, if you ask anything in my name, I will do it. You should be able to heal my mental health without me having to ask atheists for help.
And you feel like the atheists were able to help you?
Well, yeah, they got me mental health when Christians wouldn't even get me the therapy I needed. They said only Jesus could heal.
Yeah. So
I see.
Same thing, Matthew 21, verse 22. So this verse here, whatever you ask for in prayer with faith, you will receive. Is that true?
Yes, with faith is key. And you see that what a person's claim to what is true based on this verse can't be separated from faith.
How much faith
They're
do you
not
need?
mutually exclusive.
Okay. How much faith do you need?
The Bible also has to define that. The Bible doesn't say there's a certain measure of faith. The Bible looks at it in terms of
It does.
Actually, it does. It says you need the faith the size of a mustard seed. Right?
Well, yes, which is very small.
So it tells you, yeah, it's very small. Very, very small. I
But
have a bag of mustard
at the
seeds.
very
Have you
same
seen a
time
mustard seed? Have you seen a mustard seed?
No.
I
I've
have a
never
bag of
seen
them. Yeah, I can show you how small it is. It's very small. You actually wouldn't be able to see it on my fingers. That's how small it is. And so if we only
But
need
it's
that
also
much
the quality of that faith. I
right.
think
Well, it
it's
says
also the
with
quality.
faith, right? Well, what kind of what different faith? What's the quality of faith then? What is that?
So, like according to the scripture, right, which is it's the only leg I have to stand on, right? I can't make all these arguments about God and then try to use something other than scripture to establish that. But so, when faith is being described by Jesus Christ, who is described in scripture to be the only faithful witness, there's many witnesses that come, but he's the only perfectly faithful witness. He's the only one who could declare the Father. He comes down from heaven. He's the bread that comes down from heaven. He makes the connect. So I'm only saying all this to establish the authority of Jesus' statement versus anybody else who's ever spoken in scripture previous to him. He's established in Revelation as being the faithful witness.
I got you.
He's established in the Gospels. Okay. So
I just
when he
need to hear
says-
what kind of faith you need for this to
So
be true.
The faith has to be, according to what Jesus is saying, sincere belief in him.
Okay,
If-
sincere
if-
belief in
if-
him. I had that.
In him.
And
Yeah, so
reckless
if the
religion
faith
had that.
If the faith doesn't flow from that, according to him, it's fruitless, it's futile,
Perfect.
it will accomplish nothing. Okay.
Okay, so let's ask
that's the
reckless.
kind of
Hold
faith
on.
that's
Let's
being
ask. Hold
talked
on.
about.
Okay, let's ask reckless religion. Did you have sincere belief in Jesus? Reckless
I
religion.
was devoted to Jesus.
Okay, so devotion, sincere belief. Jessica, did you have sincere belief in Jesus?
Ask me a question. Yeah, I sure did.
You did? Okay. And so did Matthew 21 verse 22 ever come true for you? Did you ask for things in prayer with sincere belief in Jesus, and did you receive it?
I did, and it didn't. I think it received.
You didn't get received. How about you, Jessica?
No.
Did you receive?
My bad. I'm talking to somebody else.
Oh yeah, no worries, no worries. I was just asking. Yeah, you know what? It's okay. I'm just asking you if, with your sincere belief in Jesus, Jessica, when you prayed in faith, did you receive?
No, I did not.
Okay, and neither did I, Agape. So
Can I
this
can I
isn't
say-
true.
can I respond
So
to
according
that?
to
Can I
according
respond
to
to that?
our three experiences, we had sincere belief as you described it. We had sincere belief in Jesus, in the salvation
can I
of
respond to
Jesus,
that?
and we did not get anything.
Can I respond
So-
to that?
Yeah, help us out.
Okay.
Why
so,
didn't this happen?
So I don't believe somebody else not receiving is an indictment against the character of God. And again, I have
I'm
to
not
go back
asking.
to
I didn't
Jesus
say it was
because-
indictment. I'm saying you said this is
Well,
true.
It's to say that this is a lie and that this is not true. That is
Well,
an
yeah,
indictment of
it's a
character
lie.
of God.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
lie because
So
well,
that's what I
because
mean when I
it,
say an
well, it
indictment on the
says
character of God.
well, hang on. It says whatever you ask for in prayer with faith, you will receive. And
Right.
you're talking to three people who this did not happen. So
and then I'm pointing
why
back to
didn't
the
it
earthly ministry
happen?
of Jesus Christ, where he did certain things for certain people, right? He did not do it for everybody.
Okay, so this
So
isn't
it's
true. So this is a lie. That's what I just said. It's a lie. It says
no, it's
whatever you ask for in prayer with faith, you will receive. That's a guarantee, agape. That's a
yes, but
guarantee.
the issue, but
So
I
it
know,
can't
but
be
my
it
question,
can't be conditional. It can't be for some and not others. It says whatever
so my
you ask
question
for
is, do we
in prayer
determine what
with
legitimate
faith.
faith in? Do we determine what sincere belief in legitimate faith is, or does God in
I
this
just
situation?
asked you what sincere belief. I just asked you what faith is, and you told us.
I don't determine what it is, but when I go to the
Okay.
scripture and I'm pointing out to you what Jesus says it is, because he's the only faithful witness
Okay,
based on
so
Jesus.
this is based on God, but it says with faith. So it has to. So why didn't he tell us it was a certain kind of faith? Why didn't he tell us that?
Jesus talks ad nauseum all through the Gospels about how complex
Yeah,
this
he
faith
does.
is.
He
Yeah,
does.
so
He
it
tells us you
wasn't
have to
just
have faith
faith
the
in
size of a
general.
mustard seed, and you can move mountains. That's all he said.
But he also says that he is like a person that plants seed in the garden, and he gives 3 or 4 different examples of the seed being the word of God, it not penetrating the heart, it beginning to penetrate the heart, but not fully penetrating it,
Okay,
and then it being
so
suffocated by the cares of the
are
world.
you
And
saying
then one,
then? Are you saying then that you don't have the right kind of faith?
I'm not saying that I don't have the right kind of faith. I'm saying that anybody who isn't able to believe this can't claim that they have the
Do
faith
you
in the
have the
belief
right
that
kind of faith?
I do. Yes.
You do. Okay, so then this should come true for you, right?
Yes,
We can
but I
test
don't view
this.
God as anything that I ask him that he will give to me, because there are things that I would not ask God based on what I know about his mind and his character and his
Okay.
expressed moral will for my
So
life. So
okay, so then so if we go back to John 14, what is something that you could ask for that the Father may be glorified in the Son? What is something that you could ask for, since you know the mind and character of God? And it says
right.
here, I will do whatever you ask in my name so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. Is that true?
Yes.
So is there
But the way
something you
in
could
which
ask
God is
for that the Father may be glorified in the Son? What is something you could ask for?
something that I could ask for,
In prayer. Yeah.
yeah, something I could ask for in prayer would be like for my daughter, right, who is 20 years old, to eventually come to the faith. My daughter hasn't come to the faith.
Okay.
So that's an example that that's an example of something I can pray for. But what God also shows, which is consistent with this character, is his actions are not always expedient. A person can pray for something and it not happen until a significant length of time later.
Okay. So
And
it says
that,
here, okay, where does it say that here?
well, it doesn't say it here, but Jesus, I mean, we have to take the revelation together. So Jesus says, I'm going to leave, right? I'm going to depart,
Yeah.
but I'm going to come back. And if I come back and get you, right? He's not telling them when. He's not telling, he's explained to them how.
It says when he's coming back. It does. It clearly says when he's coming back. And that's why he's a fraud and a liar, because he didn't come back when he said he would. It clearly says
Well,
that. I can take you through
when
that.
the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled, when all of the Gentiles who God is going to elect and save have been gathered, that would be the time that Christ would return. Like that is going to be the
No,
fulfillment.
he said it. He said within their lifetime he would come back.
He did not say that it was within their life. Show me where it says
he did.
that he said within their lifetime.
Sure thing. Yeah, here, I'll find it for you. I got to find it on my list, but he definitely said it. He definitely said it. So, and that's why I say he's not telling the truth. Okay. He said it actually at least twice. It's in at least 2 of the Gospels. There might be.
Yeah, I've
more.
never seen that one.
You never seen that one? Yeah.
Not where Jesus says he will return in the lifetime of the disciples or the apostles. I've never seen that. No.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay. Let's start with Mark 9. So we'll start with Mark 9. That's one on my list. Matthew 16. Luke. And oh yeah, that's a good one. Mark 13. Yeah, he says it actually multiple times. It wasn't just twice. It was like many times. Some of these we're gonna have.
Say? I don't see it. What does it say?
Some of these we're gonna have to parse them. Oh, I'm pulling up the list. Give me a second here.
Okay.
All right. So there. Okay. Boom. All right. So okay. All right. And he said to them, truly I tell you, there are some standing here who will not taste death until they see that the kingdom of God has come with power. So isn't Jesus was going to be a king, right?
Well, what was the kingdom of God? That's what
That's what I just asked you. Yeah. Jesus was going to be a king.
So
yeah.
there's some who will not taste of death until the kingdom of God comes
until they
with
see
power.
that the kingdom of God has come with power. Yeah. So
Okay.
you're saying, so what is the kingdom of God?
Well, according to Jesus, the kingdom of God was something that you couldn't even see, much less enter, unless you were born of the Spirit.
Okay.
So that he established that. So
What is it,
kingdom
though?
of God, huh?
What is it?
Well, it's the eternal residence of God, because God presides as
Eternal
king over
residence
it.
of God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
When it's come, what does that mean?
So when the kingdom of God has come, he said there will be many that will not until the kingdom of God comes. So you have the Father who's declared by the Son. You have the Son who comes in and leaves. And then you have the Spirit now that comes, that begins to now indwell the people, and Christ reigns in those hearts, because now Christ being resurrected is planted in them like that seed. He begins to be formed in them. So this is the kingdom of God, right? This is all three persons of the Trinity revealing themselves,
Okay.
all bearing witness of one another. And then
When it says
power,
it's come, I'm asking, when it says it's come, what does that mean?
well, that like what Jesus said, the time had come was that the time that they'd hope for, that they wait for the Messiah, the Savior of the world, to take away the sins of the world. So it's the redemption of Israel, basically. Israel is redeemed. Jesus was the kinsman redeemer of Israel.
Got it.
You see that? They all were the ones that knew were anticipating that. The woman at the well, Peter. Okay. So that's evidence, right? Their hope and their expectation, Christ being that, or at least that being revealed to them.
Yeah, it says it right here. This is it. For the Son of Man is to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay everyone for what has been done. Truly, I tell you, there are some standing here who will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. And it says here, for the Son of Man is to come with his angels in the glory of his Father. Has that happened?
Yes, the Son has come in the glory of his Father. Now, he hasn't returned to judge the world, but I don't think that's what this scripture
Well, then he hasn't come yet. He hasn't come yet. Huh? It says here,
well, I asked you. At least on one occasion, he was here in the physical form.
I asked you if he's come with his angels in the glory of his Father. Has Jesus done that?
No, Jesus has not returned back. No, he's
with
not
his
returned
angels.
back.
Has he repaid everyone for what has been done?
No, he has not repaid everybody.
He has not done that. Okay. There are some standing here who will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. So, are any of these people alive?
There were some here that would not taste death. Well, they have to be alive if they have yet to taste death.
Okay, but see, he was speaking to the apostles. Are they, none of them are still alive?
Well, I don't think that's saying that the apostles have to still be alive in order.
There are some standing here. What does that mean then?
That's what that scripture is saying. I don't think it's saying, hey, I'm going to return in your lifetime. And Jesus isn't only just talking to his 12 disciples. I mean, he had many disciples. The Sermon on the Mount, he's talking to a lot of different people. So it doesn't specify who he's talking to. Like when it says,
oh yeah, it says it right here. It says it right here in Mark. Yeah, it says it right here in Mark. Mark 13, 24 through 30. So,
But he's also speaking to the universal church. He's speaking to everybody there that are believers, and he's also speaking to me and to you.
Sure.
We're reading it right now. So
Okay. When he asks about it, so what does generation mean here? Right there. Truly I tell you, this generation will not pass until all of these things have taken place. What generation are we talking about here? What does generation mean?
all right, so this generation, I believe it refers to the generation that is basically like makes up the church. It makes up Israel that's redeemed, right? They're brought together, they're one, they have union with life. They become an endless and a perpetual and an eternal generation. That's the generation. It's not saying the generation of that age.
What
Because
evidence do
Jesus
you have
wasn't
of
even
that?
speaking in those terms all throughout the scripture. He was never
Yeah.
speaking when he was.
What
he
evidence
wasn't
do you have
talking
of that?
about, huh?
What evidence do you have of that? That it's talking about
I mean,
a
when
different
I'm just-
generation than that what we know to be generation.
Well, because if I'm
Because
trying
like
to
a generation is
understand-
like you, right? The next generation would be your daughter. Like me, I'm one generation. The next generation is my daughter, right? That's what a generation is. So how do you know that this generation here is different than the generation I just explained?
because there's terms used like the generation of the Lord, for instance. So now what does that mean? Does that mean the same thing?
Not in that sense, no. But they also
But-
use
but
generation
we're
in the
using
Bible
generation. Like, what is
because
the
they use generation in the sense of like there's generations after Adam, and they're talking about like the the house of David. They talk about those
Right.
in generations. So is that the same generation as this, or is it a different generation?
Well, if we're talking about the generation of the house of David, no, listen to me. If we're talking about the generation, you got to remember, it's not that you got to remember, but this is written to a Jewish audience, at least, Matthew is, right? Somebody that was not Jewish would not be
entirely,
able to do a
because it was
whole
written
lot
in
with the
ancient
book
Greek. Yeah. But not entirely.
Well, I'm talking about in terms of the genealogy that's in there and the connection back to.
So there's a
that would have been most
genealogy.
significant to Israel.
Okay. So you're telling me that this is a different generation, and you haven't given me any evidence that it's a different one. Because like I said,
it's
they
still
talk
the
about
generation
generation
of
as in
David.
genealogy. How do you know this isn't, he's not talking about these specific people?
Well, because I don't believe there's enough evidence to support that. I think if I look at all the gospel systematically and I look at what Jesus.
If we go into the ancient Greek, it's the same words that they use for the genealogy. So that's the evidence that I have. But hey, listen, Agape, I have to wrap this up because time's up and I gotta
All right,
go.
for sure, man. Good
But I
talking to you.
appreciate you. Yeah, it's good talk. I appreciate you. All right. So that was rough. I mean, pleasant combo, but that was rough. So, yeah. All right. So let's all welcome our new mod. We have a new mod. Yay, we have a new mod. Hello, new mod.
Fun. Whoop, whoop.
Welcome to the team. We needed you. So thank you for...
Yeah, because I was working.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you for joining our team. Yeah, we did need a caller for the bingo game. But we only got 2 things. Did I see that? We only got 2 things today, Pokey?
No, we got way more than that.
Oh, good. Okay. I was kind of halfway paying attention to the chat, but I saw 2. So that's good. We got a lot. Good. I'm happy to see that.
And I've got a list, so I'm keeping track of it.
Excellent. I might give you access to the to all the bingo cards so you can see them all, just to make sure. I don't know. Yeah, maybe we'll do that so that you can, if that will help you.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think it would help? Okay. All right, we can do that. So so these are the mods. I don't know. Are there more in the chat? I can't, because there's a lot of people here, so I can't see everybody. But
I don't think there is.
I think this is it for
not
TikTok
today,
side.
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. Hey, there's no shame on that. We have Kif Web, Cito V Science. Say hello to everybody on the YouTube side, to the mods over there. Blaster Master 80, say hello. So thank you for that. Thank you guys for doing your thing. Really, really appreciate that. So thank you guys for all the work that you do. I really, really appreciate you. So everybody follows some gifts, some W's, some hearts, whatever you can do to show your appreciation for the mods here, because they do a fantastic job. So Reckless and Jessica and Poke and Forever Atheist and Pseudo V Science and Kif Web and Blaster Master 80. They all do a great job. So thank you guys. I really, really appreciate you. I really, really do. And so let us find who we can raid. It is Tuesday. I'm open to suggestions too. But anybody we can raid. How about Doug Dugald? Oh. No, actually, sorry. Board Agnostic. Let's raid Board Agnostic. Is Board a main or a... Oh, wait. Board is not a main. Never mind. Let's do Dugald? Yeah, Dugald. Dugald is a host today. So we'll do Dugald. Dugald. And I think Dugald is also on the Deconstruction Junction YouTube. So you can go check him out there. But Dugald is a good content creator. So solid content creator. So let's go over that way, and we'll go raid Dugald, and you guys know what to do. TBV raid. So we'll show him some love. And other than that, that's really all I got today. That actually kind of went by pretty fast. So
Yeah, a bit.
yeah, it did. It went by fast, but I had some really good conversations. Everybody was really pleasant and whatnot. But yeah, if you're stuck in my queue and you didn't get up, hey, come back another day and we can talk again. So I'm here every day, basically same time. So just come back tomorrow, same time. All right. Well, everybody have a great Tuesday. I hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday, and I will see you all tomorrow, same time. So good night, everybody.
Bye, friends.